Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Monday. Stand by for an interesting episode. My guest today is Richard High. He is a Buffalo, New York, SVU detective. Very prolific on YouTube and Twitter, I would say, or X. Angry Cops is the name you may recognize. One is his channel, the other one is his username. Very recently, he has become a whistleblower about the Buffalo School District trying to, in my words, not necessarily his, mask and underreport very significant incidents that are occurring inside of the school district. And this is a very timely episode because this is still unwinding. Of course, when this first happened, instead of actually going after what could potentially be the problem, they went after Rich, which is not a good move. They've picked somebody who's not going to back down. Now, it's been interesting, and I've been thinking about this episode since we filmed it almost a week ago. And I just cannot think of a single reason why a school district would do everything they could to obfuscate the safety or issues that are happening inside of that district. I get it. You know, people want to be in power. I don't think there's a lot of money involved in this, but it's really weird. And finally, it seems that Buffalo is starting to take a look at this. And what did they find? I started seeing this on YouTube. Nearly 20,000 incidents in the last 5 years, some of which over 50% being reported as school other. In that were 2 children who were dosed with very high dose THC gummies by one of their teachers. And how about potential abduction of 2 children? School other was what was reported in their system. Really weird stuff. Not being able to call 911 without calling an administrator. Rich gets into it, but like I said, super timely. This is still ongoing. He has some suggestions for people listening if they want to get involved and can help apply some pressure to pierce this veil of secrecy, it seems to be. And I'll let you guys follow that. So 386 is going to be with Mr. High himself, Mr. Angry Cops, even though he's very nice and delightful. Before that, give me 2 minutes. Let's pay the bills. This episode is brought to you by Montana Knife Company. You guys have heard me talk about this. Founded by Josh Smith, the youngest master bladesmith ever, right? Nerd alert. Total overachiever. What a dick. And just down the road in Missoula, or near Frenchtown, but most people have heard of Missoula as opposed to Frenchtown, but that's where their new headquarters is going to be. American made, an amazing warranty associated with these knives. These things will cut you down to the bone, super sharp right out of the box. Please be careful with that. Really hard to get. Let's go over to their website right now and see what they have. Actually, one of the things they do have, I appreciate, as many brands do, apparel to go with their core competencies, which in this case is knives. So they have that rotating banner up on top. Here's the knives in stock. And let me tell you right now, you need to practice checking out. They do drops every Saturday and Thursday. If you're not on top of it, you're going to have stuff stolen out of your cart. The demand for these is high. Their production is going through the roof, but they can only satisfy so much. So right now they do have some knives that are in stock. And if you're on a video platform, you can see this. I'm going to click the view all, which should probably take us beyond what's just in stock. And I mean, you can just scroll down, go to the middle here so it doesn't highlight anything, and you can see everything that they have to offer. It's wild. And here, like I said before, there's blade wax, there are flannels, there's hats. If you want to support a really cool brand, born and bred in Montana, a global brand, bringing jobs back into Montana. I'm not going to necessarily say in the U.S. because I think they're only hiring U.S. people, but it's really cool to see what they're doing. They're an awesome brand. I'm super stoked to be involved. Somewhere in that checkout portal, they're going to ask you how you got there. Do me a favor, say Cleared Hot or Andy Stumpf. www.montanaknifecompany.com. Best blades I've ever had my hands on. Back to the show.
Okay, I got the red smoke. Gun run, north and south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
You ready to do this? What are you writing over there?
A dissertation.
I am just taking notes.
This is both of these people are autistic in one.
That's the generation.
I already knew Andy was
That's
autistic.
my generation. I'm younger than you. I'm
How old
just
are you?
bald. 37. How old are you? 28?
He's 23.
25.
Oh, God. You have not aged well.
Thank you.
No. He has, they call that lettuce going on up top there.
Yeah, he's got the Riz.
No,
The
Riz
Riz.
is your, like, the game.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a little bit of Riz.
Oh my
The
God.
glasses,
Yeah.
he's got the look. New age kid, look at those low-cut Nikes.
What? How much time do we have on the SIM card? Because I'm going to talk to you about how he doesn't have any Riz whatsoever.
Oh, that's okay. I don't really have
Why
that-
are we
I
talking
have that
about me
kind of
right
risk.
now?
I play the numbers game. I just go up to everybody and say hello, and then eventually somebody goes hello back.
Statistically, you're gonna get something that
That's
way.
exactly what I used to
Yeah.
do. Yeah. When you look like this, you got to try everything. If
He's
Joe Rogan's like less charismatic, more hideous, younger brother,
Taller though.
with less of a chin. Well, more of a chin if you think about it.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, double the chin.
Do you have Rogan's cash though?
No, but I can lie like I do. Nobody ever has that cash on them. Nobody's got, let's go buy a jet plane money right now. Like, you just go out somewhere.
Let's say he got $200 million for his Spotify deal, which is a number I'm making up. I'm not sure.
I thought it was more than that, but okay.
How much of that people who are that wealthy, what do you think they keep liquid? What would even make sense to keep liquid?
Well, I think you'd keep a large portion of it liquid, right? But in like one of those high like escrow accounts, whatever it's
But
called.
if you went to an ATM, like you go to B of A and you throw the check card in there, like for shits and gigs.
If you've got 200 million, I would have like 5 million, 10 million in the checking account.
Yeah.
Easy.
But why though?
Why? Because
Just in case you need to write a $5 million check?
well, I think it's because you could. This is gonna sound like the most, like the stupidest don't have money kind of thing ever. Is you could use your debit card to charter a private flight like that, and you won't have to worry about it.
You would use your black Amex, obviously.
Correct. That's true. But you would still need to pay it, right? You'd still have to have that checking go directly into bill pay, and then there you go, right?
Checking to bill
Like,
pay.
Joe Rogan probably has an accountant, right? But he's also probably got like online banking. You know, he's got like, I don't know, Bank of America account for like him and the kids for like their normal money account. And he's like, yeah, you know, I gotta buy new jujitsu shit
How dope would that be though? You just log into your B of A app just for shits and gigs.
just to see 100 million in there.
I don't think you would put 100 million in there. Aren't banks only insured for like 2? FDIC?
FDIC is only $100,000, but that doesn't mean that you can't make. If you have something that big, like a Bank of America or whatever, there you could store it in there. That's what I'm saying. Like the money mutual accounts or like the high escrow accounts where you put like $20 million in, and then every year like the interest gets you like $200,000. So then you're living off of that. Like that's the generational wealth trick.
That's what I'm going to do with 20 million too.
Yeah, sweet. Can't wait till we both get there.
Just a touch short.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, since you're going to be out of a job soon, I mean, you're going to have to be looking for. Well, I'm going to bet you probably. I don't know what a police officer makes. I can estimate, but I feel like you probably do better on your other platforms and your other things than you do on your cop pay.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Not much though. It's not that bad. Like my you can check my pay on like See Through New York because I'm a public whatchamacallit, a public servant, and I think I made like 140 last year.
Is that about average for police officer?
Well, I'm a detective, so I get a boost in pay for that, and then obviously, you know, when your overtime is time and a half, that bump adds to it. But there are patrol officers that have made more than me because they're
Overtime?
oh yeah, they're killing it on overtime. You got like somebody that's got 10 years on the streets as a PO, and they're probably one of the most senior like officers on that wheel.
Yeah. There are some guys here.
Are we talking right now? Is this going?
Oh, yeah.
We're just okay.
We've been going
Love
for 5
it.
minutes.
We're just going.
We're going.
Oh shit!
I got some buddies in the LEO world, and
I hate that. Don't say that.
what?
Don't do that. That's like this.
What's that? What's
Don't.
the 3 fingers?
I hate. No.
No, my point is, I was going to talk about their ability to trade shifts and play that overtime game and how.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about. I don't know shit about law enforcement. I was actually going to ask you.
I can tell you have a lot of illegal things just laying around.
Do I?
Yeah.
That's fine.
First of all, that dick. Sorry. Bleep
Yeah.
it out. Bleep
Just
it
because
out.
Michael has it out of his pants, he's just resting.
Michael,
Oh, you
you're
you
like
wouldn't even
a
be able
dog.
to see it if it was
That's
out.
true. It is
Put it back in its sleeve. Uncircumcised. Weird for around here.
Yeah. Yeah.
European.
Yeah. No, their ability to. I have 2 different examples, not in the same person. One has the ability somehow to take months off at a time. I think he's just playing schedule roulette. Mm-hmm. And the other one is he has to carry probably multiple EpiPens around because he's allergic to not doing overtime. And that dude is raking.
Yeah.
Firefighters too. My Lord.
Dude,
Base-
firefighters.
It's like, don't talk about base pay. Let's talk about the OT.
Let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about the side business. The best part-time job in the world, best full-time part-time job is a firefighter.
Yeah.
Because half the time you're sitting on your ass just like waiting. So all they do is like go on the internet and figure out a side business.
You're going to get messages, but I support what you're saying.
Whatever, they're entrepreneurs. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh no, firemen are successful.
No, the sitting on your ass part.
Why do you think they buy recliners and have beds?
For recovery.
Yeah, for sitting on your ass.
In between being first responders. I have been told that they secure the scene for the black and whites.
Yeah.
And then whoosh, they go up there and do their job.
You're right. You're right. You know what?
I've only been told that by firefighters, though.
What's that?
I've only been told that by firefighters.
Well, the next time you want to put out the rape, call a firefighter.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it. How do you teach somebody how to be a detective? And I ask this because I have a buddy here, deputy, who just became a detective. And I honestly think that crime is going to go up in the valley because he
It's dumb.
struggles to put the dots together sometimes on really, like he's not what I would call overly observant.
Dumb. I said dumb. I don't know why you're just...
He's not dumb. He's smart. I don't know if he pays attention.
He's one of those, he's a good guy.
It's like, do we need to dust for prints? Nah, let's just open the door with an ungloved hand.
Who
and-
dusts for Prince? Really?
CSI does.
Yeah, great. One of those, huh? You're just going to... Right? Yeah. No, it's on CSI. Why don't you do it?
You guys dust for prints sometimes.
No.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Ever?
Ask me how many times I've dusted for
Well,
Prince.
it wouldn't be
Zero.
you. It wouldn't be you. It'd be a crime scene technician.
No, we in one of our districts there, we had a fingerprint dusting kit, but I was never taught how to do it, and I never did it.
Well, how do they jump you from what you were doing before detective to being a detective?
You take, for the Buffalo Police Department, you take a written exam, and then you take, it's kind of like this. It's a board where you're in front of either cameras or people, and you're given about 8 different scenarios, 6 of which you have like 45 minutes in total to kind of jot down some bullet points of what you might do, and then
Interesting.
Two are called hot calls, which is you walk into the room, you've got a minute to look at the scenario, and then you have to belch out whatever it is that you would do.
And then is it just OJT training past that?
We don't. Well, we have a fantastic chief of detectives at the Buffalo Police Department, who I admire and look up to, even when I was a patrolman. No, I do. He's fantastic, and since he became the chief of detectives, the training has skyrocketed. And it used to be you just went into the office with a suit and tie the next day and you figured it out. So if you weren't a good beat cop, yeah. So if you weren't a good beat cop that knew how to like go and do their own work or motivate themselves, then you were sitting on your ass eating donuts with your feet up, chilling.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that. Now we've gotten a lot better, and I'm trying to get the one guy that taught me interview techniques. He's an old MI5 guy. He's not old, but he's older. But he was an MI5 guy, and he's still using his trade to question Russian war criminals in Ukraine.
Really?
And then he comes back to the States and teaches us.
I actually think my buddy went through that. He was talking about an interview course that he was going through.
Science-based training or science-based SBI, science-based interview, I think is what it's called.
I'm sure it cascades downstream, I'm sure.
I think the guy that I have is I'm pretty sure he's the owner, but I think he's the only guy that teaches it. So he just flies across the United States and just teaches different departments how their detectives can use interview skills, which I really like. It's been phenomenal.
That, I would say, is his one strength. He knows everybody, and I swear to God, he could talk to this table for 3 hours and elicit him. He could just his mouth is. He can use it for a variety of things, but when
he's definitely getting promoted.
He's working his way up the ladder.
On his
It's
knees.
disarming though. He's the kind of guy, and I've watched him do it, where somebody's all huffy and puffy, and 2 minutes later, they're totally fine. He's just like, hey man, what's going on?
I got a mountain of a man that does that. He's 400 pounds. He's like 6'4", 6'6", and you'd be like, huh. But he comes in and he talks to everybody with like kid gloves. He's amazing.
Do you guys use the tripods?
Excessive force? No.
No, not that. The tripods with lasers so you can figure out the angles that the bullets came through.
Who do you hear this shit from? You watch too much TV.
I don't watch too much, but I've watched some.
Dude, we just got body cams. I still am trained on the baton, not an asp. So when I was on patrol 3 years ago, I would stick my baton in my vest and I would go up to calls by myself because I was like, what's up? You know, I'm alone. I'm the OG on the wheel and I'm not going to be messed with. So I'm just going to go to calls with my baton on me since I'm a one-man car. And I would rap on doors and I would, you know, knock on car windows with it, you know, like an old, what you doing? Hi, bring it up over there. Hi,
Are you talking a wood baton?
Yep.
So the old Chicago clowning wood shampoo, just a little. Right
Oh, yes, wood shampoo. I've used that term before. Yep. We call it blessed with hickory Jesus. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What's better, the baton or the asp? Which do you prefer? Is your department even allowed to have an asp?
No, yes, everybody's trained on an asp now. They're a good impact weapon the next day. Like if I hit you with an asp, you'd be like, fuck, you know, and then you'd keep wrestling with me
Until you woke up, like you said, completely black and blue.
and then the next day,
yeah.
it was a St. Patrick's Day brawl, and we were wrestling with a dude who threw something. I think he threw a glass bottle at us, and I'm wrestling with him on the ground. We're getting his hands behind his back, and he does not want to go. And my buddy is hitting him with the asp, and he hits me in the calf. And I was like, oh shit! And then I like wrap him like, man, you got me in the calf. Like 3 hours later, I was like, oh my god, I'm injured.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, still sore.
Yeah, you feel a heartbeat in your calf.
Yeah.
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 I do like videos where there are multiple officers and a taser is involved while they're on the ground and it doesn't quite hit the subject. It gets their buddy and they're like, son of a bitch, Carl.
You want to hear an embarrassing story?
Of course.
I used to, you know what a jump out boy is?
A what?
A jump out boy?
A jump out boy. No.
Okay. So a jump out boy is a guy that jumps out on people on the corners.
To like scare them?
No, to arrest them.
What the fuck are we talking about?
So if you're in like a high gang area and there's like a corner store on the corner,
Yeah.
and you have intelligence or you've been working the area long enough that you know who the players are, then you'll pull up to the corner and you'll see them like literally grab their waistband where the burner is, and then you'll jump out on them.
Okay.
Jump out of the car, jump out boys.
All right.
So we were jump out
Relatively
boys.
sexist, but okay.
Show me a jump out gal. Dude,
I don't work in law enforcement. That's on you.
and that's why you said that. Not that women can't do the job; they absolutely can.
They would just be lighter and less strong.
Science is hard. But anywho, embarrassing story. We were in the housing projects and we knew that they were selling out of this one high rise, and so we pulled up to it with a couple troopers, and we didn't have tasers, but the troopers did. Troopers were attached to us as like a part of like a everybody get together, go after gangs, guns, and drugs. And so we pull up, we see the hand-to-hand. A couple of the guys run after the dealer into the project house, and I've got dude on the bicycle that just got like an 8-ball in his hand, and I'm just like, game on. So I guide him off of his bicycle,
Yeah.
and he throws his dope.
Gently.
Of course, I'm a gentleman.
Yeah.
And he throws his dope, and we're like wrestling with him, and he's, you know, you ever wrestle with a crackhead?
No.
Well, crackheads are very strong. They can be.
Because of the crack? I've heard that about PCP. Is that bullshit, though?
I haven't done PCP, so I wouldn't know.
Have you encountered anybody who's in the throes of PCP, though?
No, it's like a DC and like weird different cities. It's like chicken pox. It pops up in places, but it's not.
It's like
not
the urban
a rash.
legend. They turn into the Hulk, they say. Like, they don't feel
Yeah,
any
they rip
pain.
off their clothes. They don't feel pain.
Yeah.
You'll get that with crack sometimes, but it's not PCP strength. But this guy had some crack strength. He was strung out, and so he was like tussling with us. And one of the troopers, like, we're trying to get handcuffs on him. We're trying to pin him against a wall, and he's just not going down. And one of the troopers is like, you know, I'm going to tase you if you don't fucking stop. And I was just like, taser. I've never seen a taser actually in the wild. Let's do it. So what did I like? And I'm a fucking cop with like over 8 years on at this point. And I just do the most rookie basic television shit ever. And I just take my hands off and I go, taser, taser, taser. And they're just like, what? That's so quick. Because they weren't ready for it. Nobody was ready for it. And they were like, oh, if somebody screams taser, they were doing the taser. So we all just let go, and then he ran, and then he ended up getting tased like 20 feet later. But it was still, still a good time.
I'm surprised you could actually get that close to them in their neighborhoods.
Oh, dude.
I would feel like that they would know you're coming.
No. There's techniques. There's just ways to go around it. One of it's speed.
Yeah. Well, and two, they're probably selling to a variety of. I guess you could kind of hide in plain sight because they're selling to whoever is willing to buy. I'm assuming.
Yep. Or you get a crack rental. You can like tow a guy's car because he doesn't have a license, and then you use that for the rest of the day until you turn it into the impound. But that's not what I've ever done. I've heard stories about it. I haven't done it.
Okay, fair enough. Do you guys get DNA results back inside of the same hour? Because that happens a lot.
An hour?
Well,
oh yeah, 60 minutes. I forgot. No, it's actually 24. All right.
Okay. Well, those shows are 44 minutes because they got to sell soap in between.
Dude, not 24. 24 is 24 hours.
It's 24 hours, but each episode is only 44 minutes.
It's an hour, but there's got
Hour
commercials
TV
in
show,
real life.
correct? 16. Yeah, 44.
Before in the middle of saving the world from like a nuclear explosion, they've got to make sure that we learn a little bit more about Tide.
Tide, or do you
Aquafresh.
have eczema all over your body?
Colgate.
Take this medicine that will cause explosive diarrhea.
Side effects may cause suicidal thoughts.
How fucked up is it that we are one of 2 countries in the world that allows advertising from pharmaceuticals?
What is the issue? Who cares?
I don't think the issue
I want to
is
know if something's right for me. I want to ask my doctor and know. Who cares?
But do you know anyone who has ever gone in after watching a show and said, I saw the butterfly flying across the screen, and I would like to know about this exact medicine?
No, but I haven't had any of those like weird things that they talk about.
I don't care about it either. I think the reason they do it, though, is influence. They purchase the vast majority of the advertising space on all TV.
Okay.
Which, if you want to be conspiratorial about it, they could threaten to pull or move that left, right, forward, back if, I don't know, said network was going to report on something they didn't like. That's the theory.
They could do that. I mean, you got your influence, but then
that's the theory I've heard. It actually has nothing to do with sales and everything to do with owning that ad buy space, so they can basically tell the network what to do.
So then you can own the network and then
that's
basically
how you
have
pay
them
the bills.
put things. That's why nobody ever shits on like medical companies unless it's like some sort of weird investigative journalist thing.
I could see it because I just don't see enough people watching a commercial like, fuck, I did have undiagnosed eczema on my face and I do need that pill, and they run to the doctor. I could see it where they just want to control that monetary chunk and everything that comes downstream of that.
It just doesn't affect me, so I don't really care, which is kind of selfish, but I have too much to worry about.
I'm just saying, it's weird that the United States and New Zealand are the only 2 countries in the world.
So then why aren't we yelling at you? Like, what's wrong with New Zealand then? Is New Zealand okay?
Let's let them take care
Do
of
they have
themselves.
eczema? You brought up New Zealand.
Those are the only 2 countries in the world that allow it.
Yeah, but now you're saying leave them alone. Now I'm bringing them into question.
Because we have to fix our own
Who
shit.
are your sponsors on this show?
Element is one of them. Salt water. Do you want some salty water?
No, I don't.
It's electrolytes too, and magnesium.
Does it make your body good?
Makes
It's
you feel
got what
better.
the body needs. What's it called? Slurm? No.
Slurm?
Ah, shit. What's it? Something. It's got what the body needs. Electrolytes. Idiocracy.
Oh, I don't know.
It's the green energy liquid.
It's electrolytes. I know the guy who started the company.
It's got what the body needs.
Yeah. I don't do any drug stuff. I won't do ads for
Are you the only retired Navy SEAL that doesn't do ayahuasca or some sort of mushroom?
zero experience with psychedelics.
Oh, me too. I'm freaked out by that shit. I'm already high energy and I can talk myself off of a cliff. Cocaine, mushrooms, anything that makes my senses even more heightened, I don't want to do that.
There is an aspect of, and I don't know if it's reasonable, I'm scared of it to a degree as well, but also I do know some people who have had fucking life-changing experiences.
Yeah, the guys that have PTSD and they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were also a lot of other compounding issues that they went into that with. And I think that from my understanding of the way that it works, and the best way I've heard it is it's like snow falling on a tracked out run. It gives you the opportunity to go a different direction instead of always the same way, so you can find different ways to get to the same ends. You know what I mean? Like it just helps. It helps you refresh. Like
Oh yeah, I've heard that it like makes you deal with your shit and you kind of like come out unburdened by what has been.
Well, and it lays down some new snow, and these are descriptions like in your brain. If you're only going down the same course, it lays down some new snow, and suddenly you realize you might have some options. You can change your behavior. I also know people it hasn't worked for. I just don't feel like I'm also a great candidate for it. I don't feel like I'm super fucked up.
Normal therapy works for me.
Same. And I've done a good amount of it.
Same. I'm doing some right now. I started a new stint.
People shit talk therapy, and I don't think they should.
I've never heard it shit talked. I've heard it shit talked when back in the day. Like,
you can't say you've never heard it shit talked and then say in the next breath, I've heard it shit talked back in the day.
Once. I apologize. I've heard it shit talked once. Thanks, Dad. Always a contrarian. No, I had a friend that got therapy when he was younger, like a teenager in like high school, and that like followed him for some reason. Like, oh, he went to therapy one time and blah blah, and that followed him. And he's just like, I'll never go to therapy again, just because I don't want to deal with any sort of like stigma for going, and I don't want it to follow me. And I don't know. That's the only bad experience that I've heard about it. But
if you don't have a good match with who you're talking to, I get that.
yeah,
People also think that it's going to be real quick and that maybe the therapist is going to do the work. Oh.
no, you
Not
got to
my-
do all the talking. You talk. They guide you, and then you just blab for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and then you go like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
I should do the thing that I just said." And they're like,
Yeah. Here's some homework. Go be better.
"Yep, dude, that's exactly it."
I know. But fuck, it works. And it sucks. Yeah. The number of times where I'll be trying to explain how somebody or something else is fucked up to a therapist, and it just nets back with, oh, maybe I'm the asshole here.
Yeah,
And the therapist is just doesn't say anything, just like, yeah, the whole time, just listening.
Yeah.
Probably off screen, because I was doing a bunch during COVID too, going through divorce. They're probably just fucking playing Clash of Clans. They're just like, yeah, that's good.
Oh.
Yeah, beneficial. I am scared of psychedelics, and I don't know why.
I just don't want to deal with it.
And I've said that before, and people will say, "Well, have you ever drank?" I'm like, "Yeah, I casually drink. I drank a lot when I was younger." They're like, "That's a mind altering substance as well." I'm like,
Oh yeah, the same thing as mushrooms. It's really making me see different colors and talk to God.
"Oh, you don't understand the concept."
Alcohol makes you shit yourself and then fuck your ex and make bad decisions on the road. It doesn't.
Hopefully, not in that order.
Well, sometimes in that order. I mean, which way's better?
Neither.
Which way's the worst?
If you were gonna go
Text the ex.
if you were gonna
shit
go
your pants.
fuck your ex, you might as well go with a full diaper.
I said text. But yeah, we can go there.
You said fuck your ex.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, well, no, because if you went over to your ex with a full diaper, it'd have to be after. Because you could go there with a full diaper and be like, I gotta use the bathroom, and then you shower up.
No,
you're good to
ruin
go.
her day too.
What's that?
Just ruin her day too. It's a journey of discovery.
Well, I think we've discovered something new about you.
I don't know. I'm thinking X as in,
Poop play. Never thought you were a guy for into that.
I am not.
Okay.
Although we both have deeply German last names, and I've heard some things.
So have I.
Yeah.
It's in our blood.
Some Scheisen videos.
Yeah, it's in our ass. It's just in us.
God. I've never watched one.
I did. I was like 12 and I downloaded one and like it traumatized me.
This is why I'm glad I didn't grow up with the internet.
Yeah, I did. So it was like, I was like 12 and I saw it. I was like, oh my God. And then like 6 years later, maybe less, Two Girls, One Cup came out. And people were like, oh my God, have you seen this? And then my friends would try to be like, did you see this? And they'd show it to me and I'd be like, I saw that 4 years ago. And worse. And worse. Because it was with 3 girls.
God.
Yep.
I remember the first time I saw anything pornographic. It was on a VHS video
Oh, yeah.
that one of my friends had found, I think in his dad's sock drawer, waited till he left, grainy, like, I think we had to wait for it to rewind. I mean,
Rubbermaid containers, dude.
It's like-
I found the stash. Rubbermaid containers filled with them.
but now,
It was like my own Blockbuster. I would take one and like swap it out whenever I would go to this location. I'm not going to blow up where I got them from. Still, listen, I'm just like, some secrets need to remain. Some friends need to just, nobody's parents need to know.
I think the barriers to those things, I wish there were more. The fact that that shit's a click away now,
Yeah.
and it's in your pocket at all times. It was like a Mission Impossible 8 full operation to get this guy, for any of us to see this.
I don't know why, But everybody from my generation and before all had the story of finding porn in the woods. I found porn in the woods. Everybody found porn in the woods.
Talking like Playboys?
Box of Playboys. I found them underneath a bridge one time. Like somebody was just like, all right, here we go. And they were old. Like they've been around for a while. So I feel like the tradition of leaving porn outside for like the next generation of men to discover is like some sort of thing.
I don't think it was a tradition. I think just people are going off into the woods.
And just doing that.
Just recentering with themselves.
That makes sense too.
Under a bridge, controversial.
I don't see why.
I don't know. I guess
You
got
shoot
shelter.
heroin underneath a bridge and you make a song about it.
You do? What song is that?
What?
What are you
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I can't understand a single fucking word those guys say.
You're a bad person on the inside, and I hope that one day God will find you and have you turn around.
I'm not saying I don't like their music.
You don't like the Peppers?
I don't know what the fuck they're singing.
You don't need to know what they're saying. Nobody knew what Nirvana was saying.
Not a huge fan of them either.
You're weird. You're a strange bird.
I like Creed and Linkin Park.
Okay, you can do that. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Michael, first off, do you know who the Red Hot Chili Peppers are?
Yeah.
Of course he does. They have their T-shirts at Target.
Do you know a single verse to any of their songs? It's like,
Under the bridge downtown, that's where I spilled my blood.
is that what the fuck he was saying?
Yes. It's called Under the Bridge. That's literally why I brought this up.
I didn't know that. All right.
I mean, it was a horrible way of... I can't sing like him, so that was my best.
I would say you
Try.
sang better.
Keep it
Truly,
up.
I struggle.
No, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That sentence right there. Truly, you do struggle.
Have you seen the videos on Instagram where people take Pearl Jam songs and they mix them to LinkedIn profiles?
I do, however, enjoy making up my own words for like Eddie Vedder. Just walking around the house.
They'll do full songs, and all it is it keeps showing snapshots of people's faces, and your fucking brain connects them, and it sounds like he's saying their name.
Oh yeah, the Facebook ones where they like take things.
Yeah.
The Facebook profiles that are names. Yes. Or LinkedIn profiles that are names.
Exactly.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Pearl Jam, there's a lot of those, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Because my mind makes it sound like he's just saying their names, because I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Same thing with Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah, I do know. Totally. All right. We're dating ourselves. Do you remember your first interaction with the internet?
It was about the same time as like the unfortunate like porn that I saw. It was.
How old were you, though?
Was that?
How old were you?
Around like 10, 11, 12.
I took a high school computer class. It was the first time I ever logged on, and then I remember my parents got the dial-up modem at the house. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was a struggle because I wanted to play games and they wanted to talk to people. And in that world,
So you were chat room folk.
no, I was like doing a flight simulator that basically looked like a fucking blind person coded Legos, and I don't know, I'm flying like an F-117 Blackhawk.
Yeah, but I thought you said your parents wanted to talk to people.
Yeah, on the telephone.
Oh.
I was trying to play online.
And they would pick it up and they would jack
And
up
it
your
just
game.
fucked me up. Yeah, I'd be like just flying a perfect mission probably into Desert Storm Oon and fucking just get hung up.
Mom! God dang it! Watch your mouth. You're talking to your mother, Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can picture it.
People in this era don't understand those struggles.
Do you know how hard it is to like download a YouTube video on dial-up?
Is it even possible?
It happened. I used to do it. I think I did it. I could be conflating two different times and eras of internet history. That's
What year did YouTube come out, Michael?
2007.
Was it?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
Were there other major competitors? Was like Vimeo one of their major competitors?
Vimeo came in later on to be one of their major competitors, and that was because it had like really high def.
Yeah.
So artists, like musical artists, would use Vimeo to post their stuff, so it would be high quality.
Okay.
Before YouTube got like 4K.
Interesting.
05.
2005?
Oh yeah, dial-up, baby. Knew it.
Okay.
Boom. Suck it.
Yeah, I was doing dial-up in 90, 96. It was what you think it is. How long do you think the internet was around before the
Al
first,
Gore invented it? What? No.
the first naked picture was sent? How many minutes do you think the internet existed before somebody was like, hold on, we need to test this?
So so we got to break this down because this is going to get deep. This is going to get deep. What do we consider a naked picture, right? Is it zeros and ones and dashes that make boobies? Or is it like an actual
That's
photograph?
Not talking hieroglyphs. I am talking an actual picture that probably would have been 0.0005 megapixels.
That was uploaded.
Yeah.
That was like a photo that they printed on paper, scanned,
Yep.
and then put on there.
Who do you think sent the first dick pic?
Bill Clinton.
You think so?
100%. Oval Office, just sitting there getting head, and he's just like, hey, Al, remember how you made that thing you could send information and photos right away? Check out this. It's my little Jeb Bush. And hey, it was a horrible Clinton, but I tried.
I would say
It was Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden snuck in.
I would say it was within 1 week of it being created.
So there's gonna be.
Humans are fucking savage creatures.
Well, men are just retards. We just like boobs and butts
Women-
and playing.
Women are pretty savage
Women
too.
weren't allowed in the workplace back then. Let's be real. We're taking this seriously. It's an invention. What else have women invented besides life? That's about it. How to churn butter real good in slow motion. That's about it. Sorry, this is
mean,
sexist
Michael-
and it's just a joke.
Michael
please.
could look that up, but he's over there. Oh yeah, hold on.
Well, was it Curie? Madame Curie came up with well, she didn't really invent radiation, but she discovered some things about it.
Point is, women consume porn too. I think they
Rosa Parks discovered the front of the bus.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Actually, I think they knew the front of the bus existed. She was the first one who was like, "Fuck this, I'm sitting up there," because that's where the door is. So to get on and off, they had to walk through.
I can't say that joke. Anyway.
Keep it on the rails. You're gonna get fired after this episode for things you've already done, not things
Yeah.
you'll do during the episode.
Oh, no. Everything I say here is whatever.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? Legitimately, a month before somebody was like, "Hey, check out that email attachment I just
Dude,
sent
it's close. Because it's a bunch of dudes. Like, a bunch of bros are in an office, and they're like, look at what I did. Oh, my gosh, look what you did. The second that they discovered that they could transfer a photograph, I want to say, so the internet was invented, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the internet's like, we can transfer photographs. I would say within the first month, easy. First month, there is some sort of nudity. Man, maybe even the first week, because somebody's going to have a Playboy and they're going to be scanning it to their dude. Like, check out Dolly Parton's tits. This is great.
You know where women hide their porn addiction?
In the sexy smut books,
The vampire novels.
vampire novels. Yeah. I grew up with sisters. I didn't have a
Yeah.
brother, so yeah, I saw those Harlequin novels around.
Yeah. My wife was on, she was on a kick. It was somehow.
A kick. I need I need the horse stables
She
and the
throws-
man shirtless and sweaty.
Throws the headset in and she's just doing stuff. Like, what do you listen to? There's this genre of authors that go deep on that stuff. No pun intended, but
Hey, I mean, some of them go shallow, 2 or 3 pumps.
yeah, it was like Abe Lincoln was a vampire, but it wasn't.
Hunter.
It wasn't. No, but it was adjacent to that. He had vampires working for him, and all throughout history and all this stuff. And I'm just asking her, how often though are these vampires just fucking their way through space and time? And she's like, yeah, a lot.
I mean, if you could float,
No, it's like a little vampire stuff, and then written deep fucking sex stuff, vampire sex stuff. Like, you guys are just hiding this in a different medium.
Did she ever make you dress up as a vampire?
No, I don't.
noted.
I don't.
Good for you.
Well, first off, what does a vampire wear?
I think it's pretty stereotypical. Cape.
Cape?
Teeth.
They can't fly.
What's that?
They can't fly.
They always wear a cape. They got the big cowl around them, and
That's
then
Dracula.
which is the king of vampires?
No, I do more with the what's the one with Kate Beckinsale, the vampire one where there's just all leather.
Underworld.
Yeah, it was just all like pleather and shit.
God, I loved Kate Beckinsale. Oh,
That was actually a good. Well, they lost the plot towards the tail end of that. I was a big fan of
the
them.
third one?
I think they've now completely splintered off and they're doing like Craven, whatever Hunter type shit. It's spun off.
Oh, well, yeah, but the first one was where it was at.
The first one was amazing.
Underworld 1.
Yeah.
Mint.
No, I don't own any.
Pete Davidson got with that.
Did he really?
Yeah, so sad. It just ruined it for me.
Okay. What do you?
I mean, good for him,
why
but
do you have to judge like that? Why does it have to ruin it for you?
what? Would you go sleep with a girl after she slept with skinny Steve Buscemi? I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, you don't have any self-respect. Bye.
I mean, it's not really any of your business.
Yeah, it is.
How so?
What?
What if it occurred before she met you?
Oh, I mean, yeah, like whatever. I'd still be like, ugh. Right? Like you're telling me right now, if you told your wife, like, look at all the women that I slept with, she wouldn't go to like 1 or 2 porkers and go, oh, God, Andrew, why?
She's the only person I've ever been with.
That's, oh, wow. Yep.
Except for my first wife.
Okay. Sure. This is great. You know, you're supposed to be open and honest when you're interviewing somebody. And this is just making me build up a wall. Interview technique, number 1.
I thought your job was
I'm just going to keep looking at the
wall down.
camera when I want to talk to it like a person's here. I'm having fun with this.
You should. Your job is to break down the walls.
4th wall break?
What's the hardest interview subject that you've ever encountered?
What do you mean?
Most difficult. Like just wouldn't give you if they just don't fucking talk, is that the hardest interview subject?
Yeah, I had one the other day where I fucked up. If I was paying attention, but I failed to act. And basically what it was is a person was being charged with sexual assault, and they came over to headquarters and I interviewed them. And right off the rip, their back was to like the door. They were in their own world. They were like in completely fuck off, I'm not doing anything mode. And I read them the rights, and we started talking for like, 30 seconds. I give him like a little bit of a spiel, like, hey, just, blah, blah, tell me why you're here. And his first questions were about having an attorney present. And it wasn't, I want a lawyer here, but it was like something of like, should I get a lawyer? And right then and there, I should have started to guide the conversation. Instead, I let him guide it. Mm-hmm. And then it was 3 questions in a row. And by the 3rd or 4th question that he asked me, it was, I'm not going to say anything unless I have a lawyer present. And I was like, well, there you go. And hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. What should you say in that situation if they say to you as an officer, should I have a lawyer here?
Well, what I would do is I would start guiding the conversation in whatever direction that I thought would be, that I could get a response. So instead of just saying and answering your question, like, yes, you should, or you can have whatever you want, I would say, and I'm just making this up hypothetically, but like, well, there's a 14-year-old girl that's bleeding in the hospital right now that's telling my friends exactly what you did to her. If you don't want to say you're sorry, that's fine, and we can go to jail. Or you can tell me what happened, and we can try to iron this out so you don't look like a monster. Would you like to tell me what happened? That could be an avenue of approach.
Okay. Do you get a lot of people who sit down across the table from you and they think that they're just going to whip your ass in an interview? Like they're going to give you nothing and...
That's fine. Oh, yeah. I've won. The only guy that's beaten me is the guy that shut up right away. And even then, he only beat me because I didn't act.
Yeah.
And I should have. And like my training that I got from the guy that's phenomenal, Wayne, I immediately, when it was done, I was like, oh my God, I know what I should have done.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I should have done.
You'll recognize
and why. And so, yeah.
Why does anybody talk to a law enforcement officer without a lawyer present?
Because they think they're smart. They're not all, it's not all cut and dry, right? There's a bunch of different reasons, but like one of them, you could have like the arrogant person that thinks that they're smarter than me, and that's fun. A lot of people want to quiz you, right? So you don't know what I have on you. Mm-hmm. So you're going to stick around and like kind of bullshit my answers, and you're going to ask a lot of questions.
Well, because you're fishing.
Yeah, they're going to fish and try and get information from me. There's also like this thing with when it comes to pedophiles where they just want to talk. It's like saying, they want to say the quiet thing out loud. They want to own up to it.
Do they really?
Some of them, yeah.
Is that because they're hoping they get caught because they can't stop?
I don't know what the psychological thing is. No, they definitely don't want to get caught so they can stop.
Then why would they fucking say the quiet thing out loud?
Because it's the only time that they can just open up and let it all out.
But then they get caught.
I don't know. Why do guys cheat on their wives? Then they get caught. Yeah. Sometimes it just feels good in the moment. Sometimes you're not really thinking. Sometimes you just want to do.
I do appreciate how pedophiles are treated in jail and prison.
Well, I just had a guy solve a case for me.
What do you mean?
Oh, I mean exactly what I mean.
I think I get where you're going with that.
Yeah, he's not around anymore.
I was thinking, I used to offer my services just like an hour alone with him in a potato peeler and just like leave me alone.
And everybody says that.
But it's not enough. You know what I want?
It's like, then fucking do it. Go do
can't.
it.
I can't.
Then don't talk about it.
I'm just saying I want
I'm the
to.
guy that's trapped in the room with these pieces of shit, and
a
I
choice.
can't do that.
That's a choice. You
Since
could.
you have a choice too. Go fucking on the internet and have a guy and pretend to be a 12-year-old girl, and then have a guy meet up in the park, and then you're 30 meters away with a fucking 300 blackout, and you're just like, thap, in the head.
And then
Gone.
then I'm in jail.
How? You're a 300 blackout. You've got one casing on the ground. There's no crime
Obviously,
scene.
I would pick it up.
What's that? Yeah, duh.
Because my fucking fingerprints are on it.
Are on
You guys
what?
would
Yeah.
dust the casing.
Nobody does the casing. No, but nobody does it. We'll get DNA from it, but we won't
Yeah.
dust it.
I actually don't think the potato peeler is good enough. I was thinking about this recently. I wish we could assemble a task force to develop a
Task force peeler.
No, to develop a cancer that you could inject into somebody that would be a horrific end. Non-transmissible, but it would be guaranteed to be fatal. It'd take 1 to 3 years, daily, just the worst horrendous pain of your fucking life, and that's what you get.
Sure.
And then you only feed them carbohydrates because that's what cancer likes.
Yeah, but carbs are good, man. So now you're just feeding pasta every day. They're
That's fine.
happy.
They're not going to really want to eat because of the cancer. They're going to be in pain, but that's all they have to choose for.
I mean, that's an interesting thing. You could just do shit that exists now to them. You don't have to think of some sort of weird, fantastical thing.
It's not weird. It's one of the most unifying things. I don't care what side of the aisle you are. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck you for this, fuck you for that. Pedophiles, everybody's like, you know what? We agree on that one.
You say that, but I'm kind of in a pickle right now because it turns out there's a lot of people that are like, well, they're not so bad.
That actually blows my mind.
Yep.
The minor attracted person crowd that wants to try to change it and normalize even just the phraseology of what it is.
I never run into one of those weird people, but like, I don't know. You can kind of get the vibe. You look at them, they're wearing like a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, and you're like, you're potentially one of them. That's a red flag.
What does it feel like to sit in a room with somebody who abuses kids like that?
It's weird.
Do they outwardly seem normal? Often, I mean, obviously, it's
No,
a
the
broad
majority
question,
of them are
but
gross. The majority of them are exactly what you think they are: sad, pathetic, gross, overweight, greasy.
what about the accomplished ones? I've heard, again, from another guy who worked more violent crimes. He was saying that a lot of predators, they usually don't get caught until about maybe 10 to 12 times of victimizing somebody. And there's people out there who are very accomplished predators. So I'm just curious, for the ones who are more accomplished, do they seem a little bit more normal? Ability to slide under the radar a little bit
Yeah,
more?
I'm dealing with one right now that goes after like 12 and 14-year-olds. And he's very intelligent. He's very cautious. Handsome guy, fairly normal. Those are the normal crowd will go. How do I say this? The normal looking male predator will, and when I say normal, I mean like an average looking dude, will go after younger women. So, or young girls, like, you're I'll just cast a wide net, just say like 8 to 16, right? It's the ones that go after boys are like the standout, weird, gross, creepy dudes hanging around by the baseball field at high schools. You're like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
That guy looks exactly like what he is.
It makes your hair come up. Like, yeah. On the back
Yeah.
of your neck.
So for when it comes to like the assaults of younger women, more normal looking dudes than when it comes to the assaults of young men.
How the fuck did you get into the line of work you're doing now?
Oh, I was a jump out boy, and I wanted being a cop or being a detective in SVU.
What were you doing before you were a cop?
I was getting deployed. I'm still in the reserves now as a drill sergeant, but I was attached to it. Well, I was in civil affairs.
So, where'd you get to that point where you wanted to jump from Big Green to the Thin Blue Line?
The big green weenie to the thin blue line.
Yeah.
A couple of my buddies were cops. One of I was going to school to be an English teacher, and my one buddy was a math teacher in the same unit, and he took the civil service exam to be a cop, and he was like, well, if I don't like it, I'll just go back to being a teacher. And he loved it. And then he was like, hi, you're going to really enjoy this. You're going to be an English teacher, but you should try this. If you don't like it, go back to teaching. I was like, okay. So it was I had one semester left. It was the spring semester, and I was going to have to do student teaching, and I would have gotten my English education bachelor's degree for 7th through 12th grade. And I got picked up by BPD, and it was like a mini deployment every day. It was phenomenal. I get my own car. I get body armor.
Right out of the gate?
I get a pistol. Well, you go to the academy, and
Yeah.
then you go do that.
And you gotta have an FTO, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
I had a really good FTO. He was nuts. He's nuts like me. So like he was just like, Richard, he would talk like that too. Reese, what's up, Reese? Like, Richard, you are a hunter of men, Richard. Yes. And I was just like, yes, I am a hunter of men. That's what I do. He's like, it's in your blood. It's in my blood. And he was right. It was in my blood. I love chasing people.
This was day one in the car. First day as FTO.
Now, first day as FTO, I had a female FTO officer that was, she would answer. She was a blanket. She would cover calls. So somebody would get dispatched a call, and then she would go to it. So I would back up a lot of people on their calls and kind of learn how things went. But we weren't really the hard charging, creating our own incidents. But Reese was always about jumping out on people and knowing good PC to stop, somebody that's on the sidewalk, or hunt down people with warrants was a huge thing. Go in the detective's office, look at the pile of warrants that they have, make photocopies of them, stick them in your thing. Where do they live? Where do they know to go? We'll notate that, and we'll hit those different areas of the city, and we'll jump out on them.
How long until you were solo in your own car?
Very quick. City of Buffalo's, like once you're done with your field training, which is when you're done with the academy. So there's like 2 field trainings you're supposed to go through. One is the academy field training, which is, you're not a cop yet, but you kind of are. You're still in the academy and training. You haven't graduated yet, and you have to pass that in order to become a member of your department, whichever department it is. And then there's more field training that's supposed to go after that. But at that moment, you're considered manpower. So they're like, you're on the road. So literally, so the summer, I think it was like June or July, we were doing field training. August, September, I was in a car, I think alone, and on a midnight wheel that was all rookies. A midnight wheel that every single person was from my academy class. It had 3 months of doing some police work.
That sounds equally amazing and terrifying.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I look back at it, and like the only shucks moment that I had is there was a house party where a guy tried to fight us, and we didn't go in the house and rip it apart. We like let him stay in the house. We're like, all right, cool. We don't want to fight him. We weren't really sure. And then we went to talk to our lieutenant, and he was just like, he tried to fight you? And we're like, yeah. His friends were holding him back. He took swings at us over his friend's shoulders from inside the house. He's like, guys, the next time that happens, you arrest that guy. And anybody else that tries to fight you, you arrest those people. You don't let them try to fight you. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Who is in charge of the rookies out there?
A very good lieutenant who shall not be named.
It's like the senior rookie. Alphabetically, he graduated the class first.
No, we were all just kind of looking around at each other. The guys, so I was in the nicer part of town in South Buffalo, which is kind of like suburbia-ish part of the city. And so the guys that I looked to for a little bit more guidance were guys that were in like the hood, and then they got forced down there because their FTO was done. So they had to go where your low man on the totem pole. You go where you're sent. So I worked with, like I said, that one guy that was an old time jump out boy, and he taught me. So I wasn't like afraid to do much. And then my one buddy who eventually became my partner, he went to the east side where it was a little more rough, and we had 2 separate cars, but we'd meet up. And we were kind of like bounce things off of one another. And we talked to the guys on the wheel, gals on the wheel, and be like, what'd you do today? There was always like a powwow before and after of us getting together and like asking questions. What did you do? I don't know. How did this? What did we do? I don't know. How did this? Can we do that? I don't know. We got to look this up. And then we'd ask our lieutenant if we didn't have an answer.
Fuck.
But we were the first group of people hired from that exam. So, everybody that took the exam that got hired, like it was like a 92 or a 93 percentile and up. And so we were all fairly intelligent, knew how to ask good questions, could problem solve. We still needed experience.
Yeah.
That was to come. But for, what happened afterwards, we were pretty good.
Fuck. How long did it take you to feel like you had your feet underneath you?
5 years, 5, 6 years.
That sounds about right in most careers.
Yeah. Like if you put me with somebody, like I had a really good partner when I started doing the jump out boy stuff, and I could rely on him. Like if he said him, there was no question. I would just go get that guy. I would just go get him because I knew that he had saw something and that it was the PC was already there to make the stop to to detain the person. And so that took time from him just saying, go get him, and me unquestionably just going and grabbing him and then getting him back, and then us, having that back and forth. What did you see? I saw this and met this level of
articulating it.
Yeah. So then, but after at 5 years, that's when I was comfortable with it. There were still some moments, just like every cop has, where you're like, shit, what do we do here? And you problem solve. But at 5 years, I was a very well-rounded police officer.
When did you transition over to being a detective?
2 years ago.
And then was there a job in between that? Because I know you worked essentially, I know you're an SVU detective now. Did you work ICAC before that? Or is that peripheral to the job you do now?
What's ICAC?
Internet Crimes Against Children.
No, never did that.
Okay, that's a good thing. Those people work in a fucking world I can't even fathom. Mm-hmm. I just had a guy on recently. So they have to listen with the video off, then watch with the audio off to all the shit that they're going, like child pornography.
So not seeing the two at the same time is less horrific.
I don't know.
That seems like a psychological trick that might just work. I'll tell you what, though.
I don't want to speak for the guy.
I heard a gang rape one time. I wasn't ready for it, and I heard the sound of it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared. If someone would have been like, hey, we're going to play this real quick. And then I would have been like, oh, are you? Okay, cool. Mentally prepared.
Yeah.
But I was just typing away on my computer in the office, and it was just like, and I just stopped, and I got chills. And I was like, I know what that is. Oh, my God, I know what that is. And it fucked me up for about a week.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the guy, but he transferred out of that unit. Mm. He was doing some work with a counselor as well.
Yeah.
Got some advice. I don't know how anybody does it for a long period of time. The shit that they're exposed to is unfucking believable.
I pass off the porn to HSI. Okay. So if there's porn in it, I'm like, HSI, give it to the feds.
Really?
For two reasons. One, they usually run with it. They'll take it for the most part. And two, they're more strict when it comes to prison time. New York State, statewide, this is just statewide in general, all different states. Like 5-10 years for possession of it, and they'll get like 2 years prison, 7 years probation. Feds are like 15 to 25. Time in the cell, period. That's it. Which one do you want? You want to go to trial and get 25, or you want to take the plea to 15? Which one is it? So I love giving it to HSI.
That makes sense. I'm a fan of that. So you went from the street to the detective job?
No, I was all over. Oh man, I've been in every district and every task force in my department, and then the academy, and then I got detective. I jumped around a lot.
Which one was your favorite so far?
Well, I really like being a detective.
Stripping that one aside,
if we took away detective, my time in the jump out away squads, it was a gang guns and drugs unit, and then I transferred over because that one went away because it was just a task force that was it had an expiration date.
Yeah.
And then there was a housing element, and so we were both kind of like sister units. We would always ride with one another, and then once that task force went away, I jumped over to the housing unit and just played in the projects.
I really feel like you guys could find a better name than Jump Out Boy.
You jump out of a car real fast.
It's not great.
Pig? I mean, everybody calls us that. 5-0.
It's just like a C- for that particular.
Jump Out Boy? It's great. You're just not a part of it.
Correct.
All right, Frogman. You got flippers. Real cool.
I'm not a frogman.
You don't ribbit? I thought you were. Weren't you a seal?
Long time ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, frog guy. But you got like frog tattoos?
Nope.
What's that? That looks like water.
It's not water at all.
No,
this is actually a 3/4 sleeve that is covering up my frog tattoos.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
Has anybody said thank you for your service today?
No.
Good.
No. That nerds a lot of people out.
What's that?
Being thanked for their service.
Just fucking suck it up. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's all you have to say.
That's all I ever say too.
That's all you say.
You're very welcome. 98% of
that.
it was kind of awesome. 2% of it was a real dong sucker.
I really had a good time. I really enjoyed my tours.
I did too. I didn't like the bureaucracy.
You were active. I was reserved. So once the tours were over, it was just a whole bunch of part-timers being like,
yeah,
all right, get ready for the next one. Here's the training we're going to do, or not because it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the reserves and the guard. You guys calculate retirement time in really weird ways.
Yeah, I really don't know anything about it either. I just hope that the system works, which is a mistake, but whatever.
That is a mistake for sure.
I know my years are good. I know that I got enough time in each reserve year.
Yeah.
that qualifies me for a good year under the pension system. But I'm just gonna stay in because it's fun. I really don't do it for the money.
What are you going to do after you get fired from being a cop?
Well, I won't, because when I'm amazing.
No, I feel like it's right around the corner.
Are you sure? I think people that stick up for like kids getting fired is really a bad look.
I was shocked that the route was taken that it was.
I don't even know what that means. It was so vague. I don't know what you're talking about.
That people wouldn't inherently side with protection of children.
Oh, yeah. They wanted to go. Yeah, the news went after me first, which was something I was prepared for, but not expecting the amount at how they were like trying to force the story away from, the kids and the abuse and the underreporting, and how they wanted to focus on me and my controversial career as a YouTuber. Ooh, because that's what makes a bad cop. Somebody making funny videos on the internet.
In your off time.
In my off time. Yeah. How dare I?
So, we might as well. What the fuck happened?
You're okay. I'll give you a quick rundown for everybody that doesn't know. So, I became a detective in SVU about 2 years ago. I spent some time away from it and came back. I got promoted to lieutenant, and then I was like, I want to get my hands dirty. So I went back to being a dick.
What do SVU detectives focus on that other detectives don't?
So we do crimes against children, sexual and physical abuse. Again, sexual assaults, and then we also do domestic violence.
So a little bit of a specialty inside of the.
It's a specialty. Yeah.
Okay.
So, been doing that on and off for the past 2 years, and even 2 years ago, when I got in, there was an issue with the schools. Schools like not reporting stuff or intentionally misreporting it, so then you couldn't find it. It would be a sexual assault, but they would label it as like miscellaneous, which just means like a run-of-the-mill, no real name for it.
When you say they, who in the school is doing that labeling?
Depends on who's there. It could be an administrator, it could be a principal, it could be a teacher.
Okay. Do Buffalo schools have SROs, school resource officers?
Yes.
Okay. Are they involved in that process in any way?
The schools will have them come in and do reports.
Okay.
But oftentimes it's the school telling the resource officer what to write down. Just like it would be in any other 911 call.
Okay.
You call 911, I show up, you tell me what happens, I write it down.
So how did it hit your radar that it was being underreported or things were being reported as something they weren't?
I was finding cases like that. So I was...
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Bubs Naturals. Now, you all have been coming along with me on this journey of trying these collagen peptides specifically, even though I'm also using their coffee creamer as well, which is delightful. It is the only thing I put in my coffee in the morning. I'll cover that some other day. I want to talk about the collagen today. In talking with Sean, the founder, he was talking about things like hair growth and nail growth and a decrease in soreness in your joints. And let me just tell you, now that I've been taking this stuff for about a month, which is what he said it would really take for it to kick in, that is exactly what I am experiencing. The number one thing that I am incredibly happy to report is that my joints hurt less after jiu-jitsu. Am I getting any better at jiu-jitsu? No, not really. Am I changing my technique? Nah. I'm kind of doing the same thing I've always done, but I feel the difference in my joints, specifically my hands and fingers. My nails are growing faster. Actually, that ties into jiu-jitsu as well, because don't be a savage. Trim your nails. Be clean. Self-care and hygiene, right? Hair growing faster as well. It's done nothing for the chin strap beard that I'm capable of growing. I still can't grow a beard like my dad or my oldest son, but my hair is growing faster. Again, though, what do I care about? The decrease in soreness. It has been legit. I'm at about the 1 month time period, and it really started to kick in last week. I'm going to read some things here about collagen so you guys know what you might be getting into. I'm not an expert. These people are. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body. Think of collagen as the glue protein holding our bodies together. Naturally, with age, we stop producing collagen. By supplementing with collagen, you're helping your body keep up its production of said collagen. This is essential for joint health, muscle recovery, hair, skin, nails, gut health, and more. Per serving of the Bubs Natural, 20 grams of protein, 7 essential amino acids, and 1 single ingredient. Bubs is the only brand that is 100% NSF for sports certified and Whole30 approved. In other words, it's extremely high quality. Bubs is the purest form of collagen, sustainably sourced from grass-fed and pasture-raised cows in Brazil. Keto and Paleo diet approved, and it's heat tolerant. You can put it in anything to include hot coffee. I've tried this in an iced coffee. It gels up a little bit, but you can stir it more. So I've actually done it in both, and it works. One of the coolest things about this company is that Bubs donates 10% of all profits to charity in Glenn Doherty's honor, starting with the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. On Veterans Day, 100% of the proceeds go to said Glenn Doherty Foundation. Please head over to Bubs Naturals. There's an S on the end of natural.com. BubsNaturals.com. Use code ClearedHot for 20% off your next purchase, or you can just click on the link in the show notes below. This stuff is awesome. You're going to like it. Back to the show.
We've been having issues with them for so long that we would start looking, I would say we, like the SVU unit, would start looking at calls that came out at the address of the schools to try and see like what were some of the recent calls. And then we would find them that say like information only, and which is like you threw some dirt on your neighbor's lawn and he didn't like it and you guys have an issue with one another. So you call the police, we notate it, and then if anything escalates, there's a history of it. Information only, no criminal actions. So we would find that, and it would be in the narrative, we would see, child sexually abused by a couple of their friends, In
an information only?
Yep. I have one of those cases. Right now, I have one of those cases.
I'm not even a cop. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of intentionally hiding sexual assault.
Let's take the information in the information only and fucking translate that over to what it is, which is a crime.
Yep. Or the potential crime. Some of these things are kids like in really bad situations, or they're embarrassed, or they're children. They haven't thought things through.
Yeah.
So you'll investigate it, and sometimes it is criminal, and sometimes it's just not.
Okay.
Sometimes it's consensual. Sometimes it didn't happen. It's whatever. But that's my job. I investigate it. I'm supposed to. That's what I'm here for. So if I don't know about it, I can't. So they would do that, and I have one of those cases, and that's not anything new. And another case that I have is an individual who worked at a school failed to report the physical abuse of a child twice. And then the third time this kid came into school black and blue, and then the child was there was an emergency removal from that parent's custody. But that could have been prevented.
Are teachers mandatory reporters?
Yep, in New York State they are.
Okay. How much of this did you see before it got to the point where, because online you're being described as a whistleblower.
Yeah.
How much of it did you have to see before you decided to come forward with it?
2 years worth.
What was your tipping point?
Oh, yeah, the tipping point. So, you kind of hear about it when you're a PO, or if you go there to when you're a patrol officer, and if you go to the schools, or you hear from your PO buddies, you're like, yeah, I had to call at the school, and they didn't want to tell me shit, or they were really a pain in the ass. They didn't want to give me anything, and blah, blah, blah. How am I supposed to do my job? How am I supposed to protect these kids, right, if they don't give me anything? And this is an ongoing thing, and there were some complaints that went forward from myself, from other people, up the chain of command. And the straw that broke the camel's back is a case that's now in the news. And that was a guy had broken into a school, was attached to our science museum, and he attempted to abduct 2 children. But that's not how the call came out or how the investigation went. The investigation went, guy breaks into a school, tries to abduct 1 child. There's no video of it. They arrest the guy. And now it's like, okay, cool, let's try to figure out what went on. Mm-hmm. During that process, and he's already charged, he got arrested for trying to abduct that 1 kid. During the process, the assistant district attorney's office has somebody from the school say, hey, there was video, they deleted it, but I recorded it on the side somehow. I don't know how. Mm-hmm. Here's the video of the attempted abduction. The assistant district attorney finds out that there's a second child that was that was nearly abducted in this attempt.
Was this guy just fucking grabbing whatever he could?
Just grabbing 2 kids.
Jesus.
So the assistant district attorney didn't know anything about that, right? This is the first time that this has come to light because they didn't have any video, because the schools didn't say there was a second child, even though there was.
Is there even remotely a plausible explanation as to why they would delete that video?
No.
Other than, why would they do that other than self-preservation?
Because it's an ongoing case, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And it has to do with what happened, the in-betweens in there. It's not illegal or anything shady like that. Yeah. I have an idea. I just can't tell it to you in this recording.
Got you.
So, anywho, they the ADA like sees that there's a second victim, and then in the middle of this, like, not trial, but like prep, because the arrest is already made. You've already got the information. You've already done the investigation. So you thought. She has to call up the kid's parents and be like, hey, your kid was almost abducted the other day with the other student? And they're like, no, we didn't know anything about that. The school didn't tell us anything about that. Not even the school told us, and we were waiting for you to call us. School didn't tell us anything about that. Your kid goes to school, almost gets abducted. You're not notified as the parent.
We would have a problem.
No shit. So I had enough. So that was it. I got really, really mad, and I was going to go on my buddy's podcast like a couple days later or a week later. And the point of it wasn't to whistleblow and bring all this up. The point of it was to go on the podcast, have a good time, be with my boys in Texas and have some drinks and tell funny stories. But
just the unsubscribe?
Yeah,
podcast?
This is unsubscribe, yeah. So, but like for 5 days beforehand, I was like, man, I was up at night, and I was like really nervous and anxious. I'm like, I got to do this. Like I've already, what more can you do? What more can I do? I've already done all the things. I've already talked to as many people as I can. Like I'm stuck. And I was like, it needs to change now. Like this, fuck it. Just literally, which has been like a saying in my entire military and police career that has gotten me in some really good predicaments, Yeah. Fuck it. Just do it. Just do the right thing. Just fuck it. So I did. So I went on the podcast, and then they did the podcast, and we were about to do the after show. And I was trying to find the right time to put it into the podcast without, taking a fun, jovial podcast and then taking it down a very dark corner.
The metaphorical needle scratch on the record.
Oh yeah. So we're about to do the after show for their Patreon, and they're friends of mine. We've been friends for years, and I was like, hey, is it cool if I talk about something? And then I did.
How rapidly did it catch fire?
Well, dude, I went home and I was like, oh, I feel good. Okay, man, that felt really good to get that off my chest. Like, I feel like I've done all I can do now. It's out of my hands. Mm-hmm. I've done everything I can do. And then I got anxious again because I was like, oh, fuck, when's it going to come out? And
so you did it on the Patreon behind the paywall?
No. We just recorded it.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a segment for Patreon.
Yeah.
The after show.
Yeah.
But they were like, Eli specifically, Eli Double Tap, he was like, this needs to be its own thing.
Yeah.
And we're not going to make money off this. And the only way that we can get it to as many people is if we allow ads on YouTube. So let me edit this, and I'll send it to you, and I'll let you know, tell me what you think. And I was like, nope, I don't want anything to do with it. I go, what I said was what I said, and I can't alter it. I don't want to touch it. I want my hands off of it, so then nobody can point and say,
yeah, it's clean.
Right?
Yeah.
So he told me he was going to come out on a Wednesday, and I'm just like, sweet, it's coming out tomorrow. And then they weren't ready for it. So we're going to put it out Thursday. And I'm like, all right, it's coming out tomorrow. It was coming out tomorrow for 4 days, man. I was fucked up. And
well, what did you think was going to happen?
I knew it was going to light some fires. I knew that somebody was going to get mad. I knew the schools were going to get defensive. I knew the schools were probably going to be like, he's a liar. Or, well, I don't know if they'd say liar, but I knew that they would try to, put up the walls. And I knew the local media was going to try and twist it in some form or fashion to be like controversial, officer, detective, Rich High, who's been suspended for his social media and all this shit. I'm like, I know it's going to happen. I just didn't know how much. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting for it. I was at work when it came out. I got the email. It was like Friday, or the text message. It was Friday. I think it was Friday. And Eli was like, it's live. It's like 2, and I'm at work. I mean, I'm, typing up shit before I, do some other stuff and fly out to Boston to find missing children using like cybercrime technology and bullshit. And then it had like 300,000 views by midnight. So on live at 2, 300,000 views at midnight. And I was like, oh, people are listening.
Yeah,
this
and
is
sharing.
Good. Yeah, and sharing. And like, this is good. Let's see what happens. And then Monday and Tuesday were fucking miserable because it was exactly what I thought was going to happen in the negative side plus some. It was like way more look at the messenger than look at the message.
Yeah, the ad hominem attack going after the person.
Yep. And so, which really surprised me, considering, and this is what surprised me, right? It was talking about my suspensions, talking about the investigations by my department and the Attorney General's office of New York State, and not about the specific cases that I brought up and who I was, like, that would know about these cases, you know? I'm not just some dude off the street that finger blasted my butthole onto Channel 7 News, right?
That'd be an odd story.
It would be an odd story. Like, local hero, finger, you know, on OnlyFans, you know? So it was very strange to live that moment. So we were, I say we, the guys rallied around me, the unsub guys, you know, Cody, zone and operator, Nick, the fat electrician, Eli, double tap, Brandon Herrera, the AK guy. And the crew that surrounds them too, they're just like, we're going in. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing. We got you 100%. We're going in. This is wrong, and you're doing the right thing, and we're going to support you. And so after Tuesday, or after Monday, when all the bullshit started, like, we started going ham. Just middle fingers to the news, to the Buffalo Public Schools that said that what I said was untruths. And, started fucking firing back.
How's it been from your department? What's their response been?
No responses, good response.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Damn, I'm always used.
If I'm not suspended, what does that mean?
They're working on the suspension.
They're working on it. means it hasn't happened yet, you know? Means that maybe they're doing an investigation, which is totally fine.
Does what does your department think about your YouTube stuff? Do they give a shit as long as it's separate?
It used to be an issue. We had an old commissioner that thought Facebook was a fad, and he tried to get me fired. I'm the reason why we have a social media policy. It's nicknamed the Rich High Rule.
Yeah.
And I was raked across the coals. There was no forgiveness. It was, hey, we don't have a social media policy. We can't tell you what not to do, but what you're doing could be bad and bring bad light on the department. And I was like, sweet. People don't know this story, actually. So I got brought in the office, and I wasn't scolded. I was just told, hey, we don't have a social media policy, but you got to be careful what you're doing because it could bring negative light on the department. And I asked the head of internal affairs and the deputy commissioner at the time who was there, because it was a commissioner's conference with everybody there. And I was like, what do you want me to do or not do that won't get me in trouble? Like, that is okay. And three times I asked it, and I wish I did it while it was in the recording, because I would love to have that recording. They were like, we don't have a social media policy. We can't tell you what not to do. And I'm like, sweet, just talk to me like a man. Tell me what you don't like about what I'm doing so then I can pull back. Well, they didn't. They just made a social media policy. And then I interpreted it incorrectly, and I got suspended for 22 days unpaid like that, which is like, in the world of Buffalo police, the first time you get in trouble for something, it's usually a smack on the wrist. Hey, don't do that, right? I didn't really get in trouble for the social media policy because we didn't have one. So the first time I get in trouble, it's 20 days plus suspended without pay. And everybody was like, what the fuck is going on? And then that continued with that commissioner. But after that commissioner, I've been left alone for the most part.
It's interesting. They always leave out in the conversations that say, hey, you could bring bad light to the department. You also could bring a really incredible humanizing light to the department as well. Like, sure, the wrong person with a camera in front of them, stand by. May not be the best message. Yeah. But somebody, I mean, your occupation is one that needs more humanization because people just like, oh, it's cops and fuck cops and all this, and they're all the same. Like, my experience is completely fucking different, right? They're just people. Yeah. I think there's more potential upside. Well, if it's the right person, there's more potential upside than downside. Okay, so your department's been quiet.
My union said positive things. They put out a statement supporting me.
Yeah. I had a really interesting experience with a school district in San Diego that is not in line with the severity of things that you're talking about, but it makes me... I almost felt like the school district was very scared of the teachers union. I couldn't figure...
Oh, yeah.
So
Teachers unions are strong.
So, and this is, I'll give you, I mean, again, this is nothing in comparison to probably the stuff that you're seeing. My son, my middle son, just say it's in San Diego, leave it broad. My ex-wife and I notice that he is, for the course of a week, asking us, hey, do you want a massage? And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I already know where this is going. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, no. I don't. I mean, what I didn't say was like you're like 8 and your massages was gonna suck anyway. So it's like
I don't know, those tiny little baby fingers.
I know.
Reminds you of those deployments to Thailand. I know what you're doing.
So I'm like, but I didn't catch it the first time you made the comment,
Yeah.
and then not the second or the third one. But eventually, I remember talking with my ex, like, why the fuck does he keep asking us that? Then we hear through the rumor mill of parents that his teacher had been removed from the classroom for a few days, but that they had completed an investigation and she was going back into the classroom. At this point, I remember going, what the fuck are you talking about? So down to the school, let's have a little chat. Well, this teacher would sit there and read to the students, and she would pay them in classroom dollars. One child on each calf, one child on each thigh, one child on each shoulder, massaging her while she read. And the class bucks was like the currency of her classroom. They could buy stuff, you know what I mean, like school supplies and all of this shit. And the school district was like, we did an investigation and we're good. So I started calling the local news.
Yeah.
And started doing some interviews. And it ended up at a school board meeting where I don't know how the news got invited, but they were there. It's hard to say. And I get up, and behind me is the principal and the principal's assistant with their laptop out, notating everything that I said when I went up to the podium. Mm-hmm. And I remember the school board, each person had 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was not done at the 5-minute mark.
Oh, okay.
And this guy, interrupted me and said, hey, just so you know, you're out of time. And I looked over, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was along the lines of, if you think that anything on that fucking clock is more important than kids being taught how to be, basically prostituted out in a classroom, then we have a bigger issue here. So that kind of shut that up. I finished like 2 minutes later. He could have just left me alone. Eventually, so she got pulled out of the classroom again, and eventually got moved to another school district, and then eventually was fired. And I could still never figure out where the fuck that power dynamic was between the school board and the teachers union and the principal, because everybody was walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the fuck was going on there, because it was really clear. And then they talked to other teachers. Yeah, it was weird. In the external facing windows, she would put a bunch of stuff up there, so it was a little bit harder to see inside of the classroom. And other teachers were aware of it and never said a goddamn thing. I'm like, you're just gonna sit there and have like children rubbing in you, massaging you, and you're paying them? Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. Never reported. They tried to just put her back in the classroom without telling any of the parents. Like, I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't understand. I feel like as an adult, it is your job to take care of children.
Yeah.
Not take care of somebody because they're a part of a fucking union and you're worried about a potential lawsuit. Because she got fired years later, after being bounced around.
It's going to sound like I'm shoving it off. It's bad leadership, right? But this is what the bad leadership does, right? Bad leadership is this. It causes this. It's where the good teachers that see something don't want to say anything, because what happens? They say something, the investigation's looked at by the school, nothing really happens, pat smack on the wrist, they're moved to a different school. Now everybody knows that you told. Nobody wants to be a snitch. Nobody wants, And what happens if the investigation finds nothing? Whether there was something that happened or not, right? Now you look like a bad egg. Now the administration's coming after you. Hey, why did you say this? Blah, blah, blah. Why did you call 911 here? This isn't a 911 call. Want to hear a news story that I just found out the other day? Got an email from.
I mean, that's a rhetorical question.
Preschool class, so 4-year-olds. Teacher's putting them in the bathroom for timeout. Turns off the lights.
What?
Puts their foot against the door so they can't get out. Removed from the preschool classroom allowed to teach in the school, just not for pre-K anymore. Still in the same school. See those kids next year, I guess.
How are they protected like that?
I don't know.
Like, I'm not an anti-union person, you know, but
I need my union. You know how many people come after cops all the time? We have to like stick together, and like the amount of frivolous lawsuits from guys in jail that become jailhouse lawyers that sue me or the city or the department for an arrest because they've got nothing to do but time to kill. Yes, I 100% stand by police needing a union. Yes, 100%. Especially when like the city or maybe the administration changes and you get somebody that's so anti-cop that they'll string somebody up, or the DA or the AG's office that'll just start going after cops because they want to. So like I get it. I understand union. You want to get taken care of. You want your work to matter. But at some point the teachers union, I'm just going to say it, has gotten so ridiculously strong that nobody will just stand up and say, "Hey, this guy's a piece of shit. Can we just get rid of him in this investigation and one and done it?" Like, I know we've got to stand up for everybody, but if he obviously broke a rule, can we just go,
I feel like in every organization, like at a SEAL team, we all wear the same
"Oh, were you a SEAL?
long time ago.
Where's your book?"
I don't have a book.
"Oh, you're not a real SEAL."
Correct. It comes out next year. Don't worry about it.
Nice.
Everybody wears the like dress whites inspection, right? 200 people up there. People they take a picture, you know, for the commanding officer so he can take it with him and all that shit.
You guys get the cool black bars over your eyes like sunglasses, or do they put them in after?
No, we just probably put them on the internet.
Oh, okay.
Externally, somebody would look at that and they would be in awe. What a fantastic group of people. Internally, inside of those 200 people, everybody knows who the fucking weeds are.
Oh, yeah.
And I find it almost impossible that the teachers unions don't know that as well. The problem comes when you don't do anything about the weeds. And the SEAL community is not great about it either. They'll eject people from time to time. But they, at least in my time in, were a fan of kicking the old can down the road as well. He's not working out great at Team 5. You know, let's let him just show for a bit. He'll pick up the rotation cycle with Team 3. Doesn't fucking solve the problem. I can't fathom putting a student in a bathroom, closing the door, and putting your foot on it. I can't.
Lights out.
Yeah, and
You're a 4-year-old and you're in the dark and you can't get out. That's not going to fuck up your brain at all. We should keep that person around to teach kids. Good idea.
I can't fathom why they would. And I also, again, it falls back to I don't feel like it's possible. I guess it's possible. I don't think it's probable that union or the other teachers around that person didn't catch shades or a flavor that type of shit was happening.
Well, the investigation happened. There was an investigation.
Yeah.
She was able to stay at the school, continue teaching, just couldn't go in that classroom anymore.
Yeah, just see the kids in the hallways now.
Now, what do the people that made the complaint think? Oh, sweet. So nothing happens. Why complain? Why get the spotlight on me? Nothing's going to change. I've got people that are like, we can't call 911. These are school, like teachers, counselors, etc. They're not allowed to call 911 unless they call a school administrator first.
What would be the logical reason to have that in place?
To hide 911 calls, to make it seem like the school doesn't get 911 calls as much. Which honestly, I could give a shit.
But is that an optic thing? So the parents think that school is safer? Like,
yeah,
play that one out. Like, I mean, who's
it's
benefiting
bullshit
from that?
optics. That's all that it is. It's, this number's less, so this school looks better, which means fucking nothing. You don't get paid more. You don't get paid less.
Yeah.
If anything, if there's a massive issue at your school, you're probably going to get a lot more money from New York State to solve the issue.
How widespread do you think it is?
Oh, it's more than, dude, I've gotten, we set up an email account. It's take the high road, but high is spelled HY like my last name. I didn't think of it. The internet did. We ran with it. Take the high road at gmail.com. And that's for parents, students, teachers of the Buffalo Public Schools that might have had an issue or think that the Buffalo Public Schools mishandled something.
Yeah.
That aside, just that going about Buffalo, I've received, the unsub guys have received dozens and dozens of emails of people from across the nation. Ohio, Florida, where else? Texas, some other states that are like, we're having the same thing here. The police will go to a call in the school and the school will give them nothing. Or the school will intentionally mislabel, misrepresent, not call 911 for something, so then it looks like the school has less 911 calls. I watch a bunch of different podcasts here and there about things that interest me. And we talked about this when we were walking up here. Like, one of the ongoing kind of topics is human trafficking and kids being taken advantage of, and trafficked, and what do we do about it, and is it growing, and where is it? It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. This is everywhere. Mm-hmm. There is, I don't want to say every school district, because that's impossible.
Yeah.
But there are so many school districts or individual schools that are doing exactly what the Buffalo public school system is doing, that I've had dozens and dozens of people email me about their specific problems, which mirror exactly what's going on in my town, but in theirs.
What do you think it would take to change that?
Oh, heads rolling. So in a perfect, I'll give you my answer. In a perfect world, what I would like to see for my problem in the city of Buffalo, the Buffalo Public Schools, in a perfect world, is I would like to see the FBI, the AG's office, U.S. attorneys are kind of, unless it's a slam dunk, they don't touch anything. I swear to God, it's so frustrating working with them. So really, the AG's,
because they care about their record so much, wins and losses.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and they're just so difficult to work with. And it's not like we dot our I's and cross our T's. It's like, no, you've got to have so much overwhelming evidence that it gets in the way of the investigation, and it's almost like you throw up your hands and say, what more do you want? What more do you possibly want for this warrant? So anyway, in a perfect world, I would like the FBI or the AG's office to take over. Specifically, I'd really, really like the FBI to look into it. Why? Good question, Andy. Let me answer that for you. Because there's so many departments already a part of this. You got the Buffalo Police Department, the AG's office, and potentially New York State Bar, right? The lawyers, because the lawyers for the school are definitely a part of this. Period. Full stop. They are a part of this. So how are you going to get, you got to get one single head in order to investigate those three different entities, right? And the highest, right, you've got the DA's office, that's the highest law enforcement group, elected official is the district attorney in the county. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have somebody above the highest elected county official in law enforcement. So that's either the AG's office or you go federal and go with the FBI. Now, I'd love the FBI because when they would look at it, they have so many things available at their fingertips, also with funding. And then they can take that information and say, hey, remember how under the Obama administration, we went after every cop for everything that they did, and they were all about use of force? This administration, we're about the border, and we're about protecting schools. So what we're going to do is we're really going to focus on some of these issues that are going to schools where they're not reporting abuse of children or intentionally being obstructionists to police investigations. I would love that. That is my dream goal.
What do you think it would take to get that to happen?
This. Literally this. Jumping on every fucking podcast that I can, having every person tag the FBI, the AG's office, not shutting up until somebody says, hey, we're looking into it. That's all I want. The second somebody says I'm looking into it would be great. They don't even have to contact me. I mean, I've got a ton of fucking information. You want to start with somebody, I'm your guy, but you don't have to talk to me at all. Fuck me. I'm not the guy. The schools. Let's take care of the kids. Let's investigate the schools. Whoever wants to start that, please do. I got nothing to hide. I got cases I can give you. You want a place to start? I got you.
What's the worst case you've heard of that was brushed under the rug? The abduction one's pretty fucking gnarly.
I can't talk about it. Because it's probably going to lead to another investigation.
Okay.
The abduction one is probably one of the worst. Yeah, the other one I can't talk about yet because I don't want to take something that I haven't validated and then put it out there. I don't want to take anything away from what's going on right now, so I'm not going to put anything out there that I can't verify. Even though I've got a lot of people telling me the same story, which is a clue, some would say. I need something more.
And the emails you're getting from parents and their own experiences, what are they describing when they do try to elevate it? Is it just a wall of shit they can't get past?
I
Just
had
unreceptive. People are not willing to even look at it.
Yeah. It's them getting threatened with their job. Don't talk to the police, you're going to lose your job.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about from a teacher's perspective or the parents?
I'm talking about from people that are employed by the school. Go against the administration, call 911 when you're not supposed to. You'll be moved elsewhere or we'll remove your position.
But the emails you're getting that are from the parents that are parroting the experiences or similar in the experiences, when they try to escalate it, is there just nobody willing to listen?
So that's the thing, right? Unless you're motivated, after you don't hear from the police for a little while, what do you do?
Follow up.
Well, a lot of people don't.
I honestly think, and again, the situation with my son was very minor, it seems like, in comparison. They would have put her back in that classroom and hoped that nobody had ever fucking heard a thing.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't until other parents, and then the next thing you know, at the school board meeting, there's a bunch of parents. Because it's not like the school sent out this message.
All the parents talk.
Oh, yeah. The parents talked through their own non-structured, ruminant intelligence.
It doesn't have to be. Kids are all going to the same school. You're supposed to talk to one another.
Yeah, and so then the crowd, the number of parents that kept showing up at these things was bigger and bigger and bigger. But I think they would have just put her right back in the classroom. I mean, they tried to.
So one of the issues that I'm not sure if you dealt with, but I feel like is going on here is, we talked a little bit about it earlier, is like the intentionally mislabeling things or not reporting things from the school.
Yeah.
Let's say you trust the school, right? You probably did, until
that point.
Until that point. If you go as a parent and you say, hey, school, this happened with my kid. She's talking about this. Have you heard about this? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to get a police report done on it. We're going to look into it. Oh, God, thanks, right? They never get back to you. Now what?
Depends on the parents.
Right? Or you trust the school. Like, oh, they looked into it. It didn't really. Susie was fine. She didn't really do it. It wasn't that big of a deal. It's just something that she told us. Whatever.
I mean, I would at least follow up once.
Well, you're a good parent.
Be like, hey, I just dropped my kids off at school. I'm already there. Might as well go fucking ruin somebody's day.
How many people drop off their kids and just go, all right, cool, beat it, and then pick their kids up and they're just happy that they're jumping back in the car and that they're not running away?
Probably more than I would care to admit.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. God. Like I was saying on the walk over here, man, I mean, maybe I'm a victim of, you seek out particular types of conversations and you get kind of immersed in that type of information. Like I was telling you, I've talked with same type of groups, human trafficking organizations.
Yeah.
And the large emphasis of that recently, or I guess leading up to the modern era, was focusing on young women. It seems like the stats are changing now. Young men are getting targeted as much. A lot of them on gaming consoles, getting off-platforming them and that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's the tradition of sexual human trafficking, or even just workers, And then, the Epstein shit is completely in the news still. And it's tough to keep hearing about victims that have no justice for lack. It's fucking exhausting.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
That's why I did what I did. I'm literally looking at cases where kids are getting abducted, attempted abductions, and the school's like, we'll only tell you about one. And I'm like, fuck this.
How can,
fuck
as a
it.
human being, how could anybody make that decision? Like, I don't understand that.
Who deletes the video? Who says I'm going to delete the video of the entire incident happening? To for what?
That shit should be fucking uploaded to the cloud somewhere automatically so people can't do that shit.
Well, I'm really hoping that, like I said, the FBI gets involved, so then there's some sort of forensics that's done. So
I would love to put somebody like in a hot seat, like, why the fuck did you delete that video?
Right.
Give me a logical explanation as to how that was the right call, a necessary judgment call.
So one of the school board people got interviewed by one of the local news people like yesterday or today, and they're upset with me because I their standpoint is that, well, why didn't I go to the DA or the Buffalo Police or file some sort of report or get something done? Why would I go on a podcast and talk about this? Because it did all that.
Yeah.
Because I did as much as I could do through the appropriate channels. And even the appropriate channels were like, well, they're fucking over the DA. They're not even answering summonses for the DA. And the DA is above the city of Buffalo. Like I said, the DA is the highest elected law enforcement official in the county.
Yeah.
Like, if they're not listening to the DA, the fuck am I going to do as a Buffalo cop or the city of Buffalo Police Department? So you got to try and figure out, well, how do we do this?
When do you go back to work?
I'm taking the next week off. I need a fucking break.
Pussy.
Yeah, I know. So I'm taking this
Right
week
now,
off.
somebody's got a cardboard box at your desk, just like, fuck that guy, just stuffing things in there.
Bro, I'm sure I'm getting all of the shittiest missing persons files that are like, you know, the kid that ran away like 18 times in the past 2 months. Yeah, I'm sure I'm getting those files. But no, next week it's not this week, but next week I'll be back. I'll be back in the office. I gotta get a warrant signed for a pedo.
Fuck, man. I feel like you're in a little bit of a David and Goliath situation.
Yeah, but David won.
I don't know. That book was written a long time ago.
You gonna fact check the Bible?
It would be impossible to do so. I mean, I wish there was more people out there like you than people who be willing to delete security footage.
I wish there were people like me in the news so they could just go, geez, this guy's fucking right. Maybe.
Well, why would the news take the angle that they did? That's another thing I don't understand.
I think sensationalism. Like I've been the bad boy of Buffalo PD for like 8 years. So they go
All because of your YouTube shit?
Yeah. Well, in my internal affairs investigations, they focus on like 3 internal affairs investigations. One's where I got in a fight with a 17-year-old off duty because he was dealing drugs with his friends outside my friend's house. And I said I had enough of it. And he ended up swinging on me and we got in a fist fight. And then they went fucking nuts. There's like their group. And then they ended up getting tased and arrested. Well, so did I. Like 3 days later, they're like, hey, we're going to put charges on you. I'm like, for what? They're like, well, the drug dealer says that you hit him. And I'm like, the fucking drug dealer says I hit him? No shit, I did. He's a drug dealer. Well, since then, he's been arrested like a dozen times for like breaking into people's cars and bullshit. So that's one. That's one thing I like bringing up. The other one is I got in a car accident. Guy took off on me. Got in a car accident trying to effect an arrest. Happens.
Yeah.
The other one is it was a juvenile. He was a part of a armed robbery. And I was Johnny on the spot for that armed robbery, and I ended up grabbing a couple people, and I got the gun. They tossed the gun, and we got it. And I ran back to one of our patrol cars because they were still around it. And I was like, come here, fat boy, because that was the physical description that I got from the person that was robbed.
Given the audience, depending on what they look like, it could be very telling.
Yes. So he was the fat guy in the white shirt. And so I said, come here, fat boy. And so they didn't like that I called him a fat boy.
You had an internal affairs investigation for that?
I had the Attorney General's office investigate me for that. Now, out of all those investigations, and here's the thing that I want to put out there. For the amount of times I have been investigated, I should be investigated for every single one of them. If somebody makes a complaint against a cop, it should be investigated. I'm 100% okay with that. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
What they don't say is they don't say, oh, yeah, by the way, he was cleared from the department and by the AG's office. Totally fine, gets to keep his job, not an issue. We just wish he wouldn't swear and call people fat anymore.
What term would they have preferred you used?
When I went to internal affairs, I used every other adjective that I absolutely could. I said obese youth. I said chunky young man. I said like hefty child.
Yeah, I like that game.
Yeah, I started using every adjective that I could.
Fuck, man.
So they try to turn it into I'm the big bad guy that's so controversial. And I don't know when, like, my city's a fucking blue collar town, man. Like, if you do something stupid at a bar, you get punched in the face. Cool. Act right. That's why Buffalo doesn't have like a lot of these big problems that normal cities have. We still smack people around in the streets like neighbors do. You know, Andy, you just did something
tidying
stupid.
up the block.
Tidying up the block, just taking care of themselves. Hey, this is our neighborhood. What are you doing over here? You're acting stupid. Don't do that no more. And then they go, oh, well, if I'm going to act stupid, I'm going to go somewhere else. But if I stay here, I'm going to not act stupid. And for some reason, getting in a fist fight with a drug dealer or a crazy guy that was flashing his dick and hitting people with skateboards is like an issue to the news.
I mean, the news I would want to hear is that guy got rolled up and, sent away for whatever. Like, get that guy off of the streets.
Oh my gosh, it's like that sounds kind of nice, doesn't it? To like have the guy that's acting like an asshole get put in his place and then learns not to do that anymore, so other people don't have to deal with this bullshit. I don't want my city to turn into New York City. I don't want crime all over the street and people pissing and shitting and molesting people on the subway. I want my neighbors to go pop a weird guy in the mouth because he's looking through their window and he's like, yeah, I think that's totally fine. I think it's okay to beat up your local drug dealer. I think that's okay.
This might be the part where they were worried about your YouTube persona.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't do it. I have to use restraint. I'm a police officer. Well, I was when I was, on the road. Now I'm a detective. But like, I'm still held to a higher standard with Article 35, use of deadly force, and then use of physical force, and the appropriate levels that New York State has. I think it's 4 or 5. I forget which. I have to use restraint, even when I'm off duty, because guess what happens when I'm off duty? Buffalo police officer does this.
Yeah, no, you're a cop 24/7, whether or not you want to be.
Yep.
Same with firefighters too. You don't get to take the badge off. Mm-hmm. What do you think it's going to be like when you go back to work? Well, people kind of, I mean, it seems like it's almost nebulous at this point. Like people are aware, but nobody really knows what's going on.
I think that there's the amount of support from people working on the job that have sent me like phone calls or text messages, etc. has been awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. I'm not getting in everybody's business, so I feel like it's going to be okay. I've got a lot of. I mean, this has got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So I would understand if like for the next like week or so, people are like, "Rich, are you wired up? Are you okay?" Are you going to talk about my case? And I'm going to be like,
what did you say?
Yeah, and I'm going to have to reassure everybody, no, I did this on my own. I'm sorry you got involved in it. It was something I had to do. I'm not going to talk about your case unless you want to tell me about your case. And then I'll do it and I'll take the heat, which I will absolutely do. Which I've had other officers be like, you should check out this call number. And I'm like, okay, cool.
At some point, it'll get to a place where it can't be ignored.
It's there already. It's there. Dude, we've got shit coming out from these emails that we've got.
Yeah.
And we have an interview coming up. I can't talk. I don't want to pull that rabbit out the hat yet. But Nick, the fat electrician, has gotten a hold of some people that want to do an interview.
I was going to say that might be the next move, especially if it gets out there.
Yep.
People are paying attention. If it lulls and it doesn't go anywhere, which I would imagine is what the school district probably wants.
Yep.
Is for it to go away.
It ain't.
Well, I was going to say it might be time to start opening the floodgates up a little bit of all of the other things that have come forward.
So, and you're right. This first week, it's only been a week. This first week was put it out there. Mm-hmm. That was the weekend. 3 days of it's out. Let people absorb it. 2 days of defense, just straight up. Oh, you're coming after Rich for this? Defense. And now it's all offense. Yeah. And in that offense is information gathering. Here's where you can email us. Here's a website you can go to. We want to know about this for our city, the city only. Here's some of the information that we would use or that we could use in order to help us. Dates, locations, the names of the people involved, and what happened, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, the move, it is interesting to see now how you can go outside the traditional means of media and do a podcast in Texas that all of a sudden a lot of people are paying attention to. And you can, it takes away that whatever Channel 7 News or whatever it is in Buffalo.
Yeah.
They don't want to do the story. Well, when their fucking inbox is flooded with people who don't even live in the state, but are just hammering the shit out of media, like, why aren't you doing your job?
Yeah.
Why aren't you covering this? I don't think they ever planned for that in their strategy.
Nope. No, they did not. Dude.
And they can't be as nimble as you and I sitting down and just recording a conversation. They just can't do it.
I did a sit down with them. So Friday it came out. I think Friday I might have went and sit down and did an interview with Channel 7. And it was like, I told them, I go, I've never had an issue with you, Channel 7. You've actually been quite nice, fairly level-headed when it comes to a whole bunch of different, stories that you put out, including, the Buff Police, whether we're right or we're wrong. You're very even-keeled. I will do an interview with you. And I go, but I'm going to bring my camera and I'm going to record the whole thing. They're like, that's fine. I was like, all right. 27 minutes, 22 minutes of a recording. They only used like 4 minutes of it.
I'm surprised they use that much, to be honest.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, why wouldn't you just take the entire interview and put it on YouTube? Like, yeah, you've got your 5-minute spiel of whatever's going on, in the news. You got to quickly get to the different things, Bob with sports and Jimmy with the weather. I get it. Why wouldn't you just take that and put it up on your YouTube channel that's got 10,000 followers and gets like 200 views a video? Why not just go, hey, by the way, here's the full unedited version of what we did with this guy.
In case you're interested in the subject matter, do you have school-age children? Did you ever have school-age children? What were their experience? Because you understand YouTube better than they do.
Right. and some of them were insulted. Like this poor guy, Ed. God, he fucked up. He's actually he's in Channel 7. I like him. I think he's a good reporter. And he fucking stepped in it, dude. He opens up in the morning with his morning talk show that gets live streamed onto Facebook, and he looks at the questions and the comments from the people that are watching the live stream on Facebook so he can connect with the people from the city. Brilliant idea. You're literally having a conversation with the people that you're reporting to about your city. Great idea, right? The first thing that he does when he talks about the story is how literally absolutely foul the podcast is because we burp and we have White Claws in front of us. And
that second one is rough.
And I know. And he's like, why would you go on a podcast and talk about it? Why would you go on a podcast? Because I've got 37 minutes of me straight explaining myself, not 2 minutes cut up to whatever you want to make it.
Yeah.
And it's got I think 1.5 million views right now, something like that. It's got more views than your entire network gets in a month. In 6 days?
Or if not a year.
One episode?
Yeah.
So that's why I went on there. Maybe instead of shitting on it, you're already kind of there with, using Facebook as a way to communicate and connect. Why wouldn't you go, oh, I get it. Yeah.
And the route you took is global too.
That's true.
That what they're doing, I think he's trying to definitely target the people where he lives. And I agree. It's a great strategy. It's basically doing a YouTube live. Dude, they can't adapt to the model.
We're too fast.
Yeah. Well, and it's grown. Honestly, a lot of people, and this is anecdotal, but I hear people talking about this often, the lack or loss of faith in traditional media sources. Not that all podcasts should be taken, or any podcast should be taken face value. Everything they say is the truth, because I say some dumb shit sometimes.
Oh, yeah, so do I.
Yeah. So, everything I say should be taken with a grain, but I'm also not, purporting to be giving the news.
Or a subject matter expert. I'm like,
totally.
oh, hey, this is me bullshitting about some stuff. We're trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And then if you're not sure about it, you go, that sounds off. Or I want to learn more. That sounds interesting. You can go and do that.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know how traditional media recovers.
They won't. They'll try to figure some way to finagle into YouTube, but YouTube's bigger than them. YouTube's going to tell them to kick rocks.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because then I think the linchpin there would be the ads, the ad dollars.
And sensationalism, right? How are you going to get, it's going to be, you need normal journalism, because you need people to make an income by going out and getting to the stories, right? You can't have every person be an independent YouTube journalist that can say and do whatever they want, right? There has to be some sort of check and balance, and they have to be honest, and there has to be an editor over them to be like, we can't say that. That looks kind of dumb. You know, there's between, uber racist and Alex Jones, you've got to
yeah, let's not do a week-long expose into how the earth is flat.
Right? We know it's flat. Maybe the people that believe it are interesting. Oh, I said we know it's flat. See, there we go. Dumb thing. We know it's a globe.
was
Sorry.
going to say, do you want to go undercover at one of those conventions? Because I kind of do.
Yeah, I think we need to make like a hat that is also like a diorama. That way we can wear the hat and have the things go around us.
God. I think for them,
If you don't have a diorama of the Earth being flat, like, do you even believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would immediately think that you're just some sort of plant.
do you even globe, bro?
Do you even glow? Bro, we don't globe around here.
I feel like it's just a community of people that found each other. Maybe they were a little bit socially awkward. Whatever it is, maybe there's some really smart people. I think it's more about the community than the belief that the fucking Earth is flat.
I think it's that too. If I were to put my thumb on it, I think it would be something like they found a group of people that enjoy making conspiracies and having fun and what-ifing things that mean nothing to anybody else but themselves.
Some conspiracies are fun.
Yeah.
Did Epstein kill himself?
Somebody did.
But was it him?
Who cares? I want to know.
It's a conspiracy.
I don't care. He's dead. It doesn't matter who did it. I want to know what's going on behind the suicide.
Do you think anybody's ever going to get arrested?
No.
That goes right back to the victim thing, man. Like, I am so fucking tired of victims not being protected.
Goes back to our conversation. You're going to black out from a couple hundred meters away.
Yeah, but then that person ends up in jail. A cop would be right.
It's so easy to get away with murder.
Not when your fingerprints are on the casing there in the grass.
You just pick it up. You pick it up.
Then there's a second set, and then they'll dust it twice.
I'm not going to tell you how to get away with murder, but it is not hard. I can't like that. Detective goes on Andy Stump's podcast, tells everybody how to get away with murder.
First, what you need to do is this. Yeah, but
first of all, you need a lot of horse cum because everybody's going to be confused. What's this doing here? It's a red herring.
It's true. No, let's say let's say you do go down that path and a cop rolls up on you. They're in their legal rights to fucking arrest you. Like, I get it. I do deeply want to kill those people. I'm not going to because I enjoy my family and I enjoy not being in prison.
Yeah, there's a give and a take.
I would like to see, it's interesting to me people's inability to judge both sides of the political aisle equally. I get that people have political bias. I have political bias. I have things I believe, things I think are ridiculous.
I don't. I'm right and everybody else is wrong.
Sure. That's a common sentiment.
Yeah.
I want the current administration to be successful.
Yeah.
One of their running points was transparency, and we're releasing this fucking list. Let's see it, man. Let's fucking see it.
I'm waiting to see what Cash does with the FBI. I'm excited to see that.
He hasn't hit the headlines recently. I wonder what that dude's up to.
I know, right? I don't know. I don't want to say no news is good news, but he wanted to gut it and be like, sweet, we're going to focus on crimes now. Now, it takes time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to expect a massive, swing in 4 months to all of a sudden now he's arresting all of the cartels. Like there has to be a transition of information to whatever he's focused on now. Yeah. But I'm excited to see, I shouldn't say excited. I'm anticipating. I'm trying to anticipate, maybe I am excited, to see where he goes and the results of that.
How long do you think it will take to actually see the results? It's like steering an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I'm giving everything a year. Okay. I'm giving the economy a year. I'm giving tariffs a year. I'm giving the world trade a year. Border, FBI, January 7th, 2026, or whatever it is. It's January 7th is the election day, is it not? Something like that. 13th, 12th?
God, we both sound like idiots right now.
Whatever. The first 2 weeks of January, whatever. I know when it is ish. So yeah, whenever when January comes around again, when 2026 hits, I'll be like, okay, where did they say they were going?
Hold on. Isn't the inauguration in January?
Correct. That's why I said January.
You said when we vote.
I meant when is he put in power, not when we vote.
In January.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just trying to save
my brain's going everywhere, man.
I'm just trying to save this.
I had one of your delicious espresso pieces of coffee from Black Rifle.
Those are Evans.
And now I'm jittery.
Yeah, that's what 300 mgs will do for you. Man, yeah, I think a year is fair. What do you think about people? They're really up in arms about tariffs and the cost being listed on receipts.
I'm off topic, on topic. I went to Starbucks this morning to grab some little egg bites and an orange juice. And I went to pay for it with my card, and I tapped the card right away, and it was like $16. And I didn't notice that they had auto-selected like a $5 tip. and so I went, boop. And I was like, $16 went to $21. And I was like, what? You're Starbucks. I went through the drive-thru. You don't get a tip for that. You automatically put a tip in the. I was very upset.
Yeah.
For $5 worth of fucking everybody over that goes through that drive-thru. Like, fuck you. Anyway.
What'd you do about it though?
Nothing.
Drove off in rage.
Drove off and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it up on the Cleared Hot podcast because Starbucks out here swindling people. So the tariffs, was it Ronald Reagan said that they're not good long-term and they're good short-term and it's meant to prove a point.
Well, people are freaking out that it's showing the price difference on the receipt.
People might be doing that to like as a political thing to say, hey,
is it political to show the cost difference and what it comes from? To me, I'm like, educate the consumer, because if you see that crazy fucking number,
yeah, I want to know where it came from.
You're like, well, hold on. Okay, clearly this comes from a country we have a tariff on. If I as the consumer were looking at that, before I would check out, I'm assuming they would break it out for you. But like, maybe I'm going to look for an alternative. That would actually be something for me. If it was fucking ridiculous, I would look at it and go, can I source this elsewhere?
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point if you listen to him talk about the tariffs.
I'm with it. I'm on board with it.
People are like, it's being weaponized politically. I'm like, just educate the consumer and let them make their own fucking mind up.
Well, I'm also about it. I'm fine with it being used as a weapon. Like the thing that people skip over that I think is important in this entire conversation is we're doing trade with countries that have tariffs on our goods.
Heavily, yeah.
Heavily, especially China. Was it like 120% or something like that?
I'd have to look it up. But
it's fairly high.
There are many countries with an immense amount of tariffs, and everybody, when we do the same thing, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
If we do it, it's evil, but we ignore the fact that other countries have been doing that to our goods for quite some time.
So I see nothing wrong with any administration saying, hey, if you've got a 50% tariff on our goods, we're going to reciprocate that. Or you can, let our economies flourish a little bit better, and we'll do free trade between the two of us.
Yeah.
Which I would love free trade between us. That's great. I don't want it to last forever. I don't expect them to. I see it as a tool and not a solution.
Yeah.
Like a permanent solution, I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop to see who's going to cave first and is it going to lower prices. But that's why I'm like giving it a year, right? You can't be like, here's a tariff for 3 weeks, then go, well, everybody's upset. I guess we're taking it away. Well,
yeah. They're still selling through the inventory that's already in the U.S. that it hasn't even, I think the one issue with the 1 year wait period, not that I disagree with that at all.
That's just me spitballing.
No, totally. And a lot of it is, let's bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Well, that's going to take a lot fucking longer than a year.
Yep.
I mean, from an infrastructure, from a training perspective, finding the people, that's a longer one than a year.
Somebody made a really good point, and I forget which podcast it was, that somebody much smarter than me said this. And they were like, yes, we're the largest consumer, but if we don't make anything, we're fucked. Because all that other country has to do, and they were specifically talking about China, is say, hey, we're not going to make shit for you anymore. We are in a trade war. And then we're sitting here and we're like, but we've got all this money. We don't know what to do with it. Sweet. Ooh, does money feed your fucking family? Yeah, I can burn it to stay warm, but I need goods and I need goods. I need actual things that I can work on. So manufacturing has to come back to the U.S. in some form, something.
I think it will. I wonder about the timeline. It's going to be a longer one. I think that one is.
I'm also
3 to 5 years minimum.
Another thing that I'm okay with the tariffs with China is because they've stolen so much intellectual property.
That's a rumor.
Oh, it's a hell of a rumor.
I don't think.
Well, I buy into it.
It's never been proven.
Earth is flat, and China's not screwing us over. So these two things are fact.
Holy shit! I was chatting with somebody on Twitter, which is fucking difficult to do. My God, these platforms are hard to actually have a good communication.
My DMs are great. I DM people all the time. That's where you talk on Twitter. The comment section is not. The comment section is how you let somebody know you want to talk to them, and then the DMs are how you have the conversation.
Well, he was talking about he was a retailer on Amazon. Like, he specializes. His business is creating shit and then selling it on Amazon. And I'm going to completely fuck up what he was describing, because I'm going to actually try to sit down and have an episode with him. But it was about how China interrupts that process and how quickly they can put up basically things that are shells, and they're cutting and pasting, and they end up shipping different stuff. The way he was describing it, I'm like, this is some perfect mind shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you'll see. Let's just say we're talking about scissors, right? Mm-hmm. Some unique pair of scissors, and you'll have the one company that actually made it and came out with it. Steve Scissors, these are great, the best scissors you can get. Well, China will then copy that, and they'll have, the weird company names, like just letters put in like a word that isn't English.
Yeah.
It's just a weird conglomeration of letters that's,
It's like wee wow.
boo-wow, sing zap, flarg. Come to flarg and see what you can get. Come to blap.
Yeah.
You want to get scissors from blap? And they're just pumping them out for like a third of the price of Steve's great scissors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we see that all the time. They're doing it in Walmart, too. The Unsub Boys had T-shirts for sale that were supporting autism. All last month is Autism Awareness Month. And so they put out like a shirt and some shoes and some other things. And all the proceeds from those items will go towards a charity of their choosing. Sometimes it's a couple charities for autism awareness. And don't you know, Walmart's got the same shirts on sale from Burp and Flarg.
The way this guy was describing it, the velocity that they're able to do it, and it's everything from porting over different reviews and pictures and like.
Oh, they'll build a fake company in the matter of like a day, and
hours.
it looks like it's been there
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah, and again, how much of that does Amazon know about? How much of that does Amazon care about? Because that specifically was the portal that this person was talking about.
Yeah, if they're getting money, what do they give a shit?
Yeah.
That's why we need to make stuff, and that's why we need to quote one of my favorite quotes of all time. Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
Whose quote is that?
I don't know, some guy in Taiwan that was protesting, and it was during Trump's first administration. It's one of my favorite. Donald Trump, he's like, do you have anything to say to the United States? He's like, yeah, Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole. And I'm like, that man needs to stay where he's at because he's fighting for his country.
God, he's a beacon of hope for us all. How long do you think you can keep doing what you do, doing the SVU stuff?
Where I'd like to go is I'd like to go back to the FBI safe streets as a task force officer, which is it's gangs, violent gangs. So I'm like the middleman between Buffalo Police Department and the FBI safe streets task force. And I take all the information that's gang related from my guys, pass it over to the FBI. And the FBI is also like, hey, we're looking at these guys. Tell your guys to look into that. And also do your own investigation and look into those guys. And while I was with them for, I think, like a 6 or 9 month period, I had a blast. I got CIs. I was working with CIs. I was being a jump out boy, but with a gold badge and plain clothes. Awesome.
What does the gold badge mean?
A detective or a lieutenant. So gold.
Silver is the other
Silver's
one?
a patrol officer.
Okay.
So if you get a gold badge, then you're either a boss or you're a dick.
It's pretty racist, but
Metallurgist?
it's racist. It's race based.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever. DEI yourself.
Very elitist.
Oh, well, yeah. I am better than. No, I'm kidding. That's all I need. You know what's funny is I've said that to like every and it's absolutely true. Is like without a good, it's like infantry. The military revolves around infantry. Whatever you do, it's all about infantry, and everything supports that. Policing is all about patrol, and everything else supports that. If they're not on the ground giving me information and assisting me in something, I'm a one-man show that's not as effective.
Yeah.
But that's where I like to be, is I like getting guns and dope and talking to gang members. That's my jam. But I'm in a good spot. I do really like what I do because it feels... Instead of having a guy get arrested for guns and then having him be out the next day or be on probation for 2 years and then on to the next one and on to the next one, which is fun. The chase is fun. It is nice to be like, this guy's not going to hurt anybody for 20 years because he's going to Fed time.
How do you let the victim's stories not impact you or wear on you? Or is that why we're back talking to a counselor again?
So we're talking. Well, I was talking to the counselor again because I was bringing stress home from work.
How could you not in your job?
Yeah, well, I was, and I was like, I noticed that I was getting like irritated with my wife, and I was like, and then it was not her fault. You know what I mean? I'm like, what she's saying is normal, and you're being a dick, or you're about to be. So shut up.
Yeah, your reaction wasn't commensurate.
Yeah, I'm like in my head, I'm like, you need to shut up, and you're in a mood for some reason. And so after like a month or two of that, maybe more, I was like, all right, I already got counseling for PTSD when I came back home when I was a kid. And I was like, you know what? I need to go see a shrink again. This is different. This isn't PTSD, or at least it's a different form of it. But I stay sane because I see it as a game. So if a kid comes in with a disclosure, because the kid stuff is really where it's kind of fucked up. If it's adults abusing adults, it's kind of normal to me.
It's more tolerable.
Right,
sure.
more tolerable is a better word.
The kid stuff just scrambles fucking people's eggs.
So when I look at it is if a kid comes in and does not make a disclosure, meaning, something happened at school or somebody said this and we're bringing little Timmy in for a forensic interview with the specialist who interviews children, and he doesn't make a disclosure, meaning little Timmy says like, oh no, nothing happened. Yeah, Daddy touched me down there, but it was a bath. And you're like, oh, sweet. That's a win. It's a win because nothing happened. The kid's going to be okay. If it's the opposite and the kid makes a disclosure, yeah, my uncle touched me, and I can't say that. That's a real. That's a case I'm looking into now. But my uncle touched me, and
Inappropriate ways.
Diddled me. Then I'm like, sweet, we're gonna fucking skin him. So it's like it's a win-win, even though like one's obviously better than the other. It's a win because the kid, either nothing happened to the kid, or it's a win because now I'm gonna go after the guy that did it, and I'm gonna remove this dude from society and lock him up. So that's how I kind of see it, as like a game.
I mean, maybe that's a really healthy way to look at it.
I'm pretty smart, except for the whole flat earth thing that I'm really into.
Well, I don't think it's possible for you to do what you do and not take it home.
Yeah.
I think it would be dangerous for people to think that it doesn't impact them in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you guys don't get called to birthday parties because people are stoked that, hey, come to our quinceañera, right? It's their 15th birthday. It's an amazing day. You get called because, there was fucking shooting in there as opposed to a great day.
Yeah.
I don't think it's reasonable for people to think that they can not expose themselves to that and not be impacted.
I was never expected, or I never really dealt with dead bodies poorly. And maybe it was because of my tour and I kind of knew how to compartmentalize that. But like, if I was ever around a dead gangbanger or just, like a shooting, I was just kind of like, go to work if they were alive. And then, if they weren't, clear the scene, look at the body and be like, wow, fucked up. Wow, right through the mouth. That's weird. And it's a story to tell at a bar. Like, for some reason, death doesn't do that to me. The frustration with like victims, not like, this is weird, right? Victims that I'll get in contact with and say, hey, come in for this interview on, tomorrow or the day after, and then them ghosting me and just not coming in. Why make the report? Why waste my time? That 3 hours that I sat there with my thumb in my ass, waiting for you, preparing this interview, it's gone now. That fucking infuriates me. But the dead bodies don't.
One's resolved and one's not.
One dead body fucked me up. It was a suicide. He hung himself. And it was the first time I saw a guy that had hung himself. I'd gone to calls, but didn't go see the person, the individual that did it. I'd been around it, but I never saw it. And then the first time I saw it, it was this guy that looked just like me. Oh, phone's ringing.
No, that's right.
This guy that looked a lot like me, and I saw him hanging, and my brain tricked myself into seeing me. So like I saw, like for a split second, obviously it was a mind trick, whatever your psyche does. And I was just like, I saw me hanging, and I was like, "Whoa!" That fucked me up for about a week.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now I'm fine.
Hangings are not an awesome one to find.
Though nothing's great to find when they sit there for a while and then they start decomposing.
Yeah. Yeah, the dead body one doesn't bother me either.
Fresh dead bodies don't bother me at all. Like a fresh dead body, I'm just like, oh shit, there he is. Especially a shooting.
Well, we have had exposure to particularly that.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm used to working with people who are used to being around dead bodies and you're just getting your job done. I guess it probably does nerd people out. I don't know. Michael, have you ever seen a dead body?
No.
See,
why did it take so long for him to say no? Who have you put behind a fucking woodshed and just been like,
Did you see he was looking up at the ceiling too?
Yeah, he was remembering shit. He was just like, I can't tell him about this. They'll know who I am. His real name isn't Michael. It's something else.
It's Michael.
No, it's Lucifer. It's like he grew up in one of those.
But he's the normal
cults.
one. I mean, most people aren't around dead bodies that much.
That's true.
We're the atypical ones in this particular situation.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are around a lot of dead bodies as like a civilian,
What's going on?
what's your line of work? One,
Yeah,
and two, how are we doing up there?
Yeah, like, are you, dude? Who goes into like mortuary affairs? First off, it needs to be done. An important job.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, though.
I mean, not even mortuary affairs, right? You're talking about the military that sees like, dead soldiers and
Or
troops,
like,
right?
yeah, or even
I'm just a normal funeral home.
Funeral directors.
You're just like, oh, here's this dead slab of meat. Whoa.
let's make sure he looks okay.
I'm weirded out when it comes to like surgery videos.
Oh, I can't watch those.
I can't watch them either. I can put a tourniquet on a guy's arm that's fucking gone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's really neat. But like watching like the scalpel cut the skin. Ooh.
Yeah, hard pass. I can deal with it if it surprises me. I cannot voluntarily go try to find that type of content. It nerds me out.
Nightmare Fuel was Saw 2 or 3. And it's when they like took the mattress, they removed the mattress from the floor, and it was a pit filled with hypodermic needles, and they threw the woman into it.
Jesus.
And she like was like, ah, like screaming, and they're all in her arms, and I'm just like, everything in my body was just like, that's my fear. I've unlocked a fear of what I don't want to happen.
Fuck. How'd you grow? How'd you get started on YouTube? Your channel is huge.
Thank you. It's overcompensating for my small penis.
That's an interest. It's usually done with trucks, but
I know. Well, I've got one, but
what
it's
do you
not
roll
lifted.
around in?
I'm not telling you what time to do. I'm not telling you the make and model of my car. I've been around for a minute. People don't need to know where I do any of my
Just
shit.
assume it's an F-150.
Yeah. Well, fuck off, man. The most popular truck in America? You bet your ass.
Yeah.
So, what was the question? What did I do?
Your YouTube channel. How'd you get started?
It started off with Twitter. I was in, we didn't have a social media policy, and I was like, I was a rookie. I was very young in the department, and I was like, Twitter's around. I was like, it'd be cool is if I kept like a living diary of the stupid shit that went around. And I was like, well, what's a funny name? I'm like Angry Cops, because I'm always angry at like the dumb shit that I see, or like irritating. You're like, what is going with this guy? What's up with airplane food? And I started off doing that, like a tweet here and there, nothing big. And then Vine came around, and I got to like act out little skits about what it's like to be a cop, to like show them the humor of like.
Was Vine like an early TikTok or Snapchat?
Correct.
thing?
It was
Okay.
before everything.
Okay.
It was the first like 7-second videos you could post. Instagram, I don't think, had videos at the time.
Okay.
And then Vine came around and were like, we've got 7-second videos. And Instagram was like, holy shit, we need to do that. We should do videos and pictures. So I did that, and I found my outlet, because I did stand-up comedy and I did improv comedy before for a while. And I needed an outlet because I was a cop and I couldn't do open mic nights, and I couldn't do the improv comedy stuff anymore. It just clashed with the
schedule.
the schedule. So I found my outlet. It was, making funny jokes and making fun of the things that I know, which is policing and being in the military. And I was like, well, I'm already Angry Cops on Twitter, and I'm going to be doing, military and stuff. And I was like, maybe people think I'm an MP, if it's, Angry Cops and they see me in uniform, like whatever. So I started doing that. Vine died, went away, and I just kind of moved over to, Instagram and Facebook, the short form. And then I was like, well, why don't I just go to YouTube? And I'll have all the video things covered. Maybe one will grow more than the other. One did, and YouTube stuck. So I've been doing it for like 8 years on YouTube.
Yeah. It's a huge channel, man.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm surprised I've been around this long. Like I've started. It's like I make jokes about this. Like I'm the Norm Macdonald of like military YouTubers. Like it's
That's an interesting reference.
like if you are a military YouTuber, even policing as well, you know who I am, and I might have motivated you or to like do it on your own, or you were like, hey, that's what I want to do, blah blah blah, and people have surpassed me, obviously. Good for them. It's awesome. But people have surpassed me by hundreds of thousands, millions even. And they've come up to me and been like, oh my God, dude, like I have like a lot of respect in like that military/police genre of social media, which is, I appreciate. But like if you're outside of that, this is why I say I'm kind of like the Norm Macdonald of it. If you're on the outside of that world, like if you're on the outside of comedy and you don't know Norm Macdonald, you don't know who he is, you could give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So all the comedians who have grown up with Norm Macdonald, and Norm Macdonald being who he is, love him. He's like one of the godfathers of like comedy in like, social media form and just being who he is. And that's kind of like a way that I am in that social media thing where if you're in that scene, you kind of have a good idea of who I am, and if you're out of it, you don't give a shit.
Do you put it on any type of structure, or you just create what you want to create when you
No,
want to?
I just do what I want when I want. I usually don't have a video idea for more than 2 weeks. Like something, it's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Something happens every week that I can make a joke out of.
Oh, I'm surprised you can make it through a fucking hour.
I mean, if it was my full-time job, I'd make a lot, and people would probably get a lot more tired of me. But the once a week thing is usually pretty good.
What? When did you have your first video kind of take off on you?
That's a good question. I remember one that blew up. I had a following. I was already doing well. I was growing. There were some videos that did really well. Some videos that did But like one of the first ones where I was like, holy shit, this one took off. There was this YouTuber who's a piece of shit, and his name was Onizian. What? Yeah, his name. That's not his real name. It's
Of
just
course,
it might have been his last name actually, but he was in the Air Force, and he was like supposed to be like a SEER instructor, and he like failed out of being a SEER instructor, and maybe
Never let that stop you from putting it in your bio.
right. So he like failed out from being a SEER instructor, and then he like refused to train, and he found like all these stupid excuses to not do it. And then he went and talked about it on like a little like vlog, like this is why I don't like the military. This is why it's dumb, or this is my experience. It was bad. It was bullshit. All these people were all against me. And I was a drill sergeant, still am. And I was like, bullseye. What a perfect example of the me generation. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's piece of shit soldier. Well, true, he was an airman that needs to get called out for his bullshit. And so, I mean, it was only like 7 or 8 minutes. I think it was one of my longer videos at the time. And I just fucking ripped him. I just went knee deep in his asshole and just called out his bullshit. And it blew up. And it happened to be at a time where the internet hated him. Like he was like, I forget what it's called. It's like a lulz cow, which is basically a lulz cow is an individual on the internet in the social media sphere that is just so easy to beat up on. That just beating up on that one person because they're such a turd, the internet loves to see. So you'll get like a boost in views. Some lingo for you and the kids.
Yeah.
So he was that. Everybody was not liking him at this moment. There were some grooming allegations going on about him. And so I happened to put that video out of this guy and a portion of his life that nobody knew about, right? They're like, oh, he's a military guy, but nobody knows about the military shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a military guy and I do. So they found a new way to dislike him. They were like, oh, see, we knew he was a piece of shit. Like even this guy who's in the military called him out for being a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit in every part of his life. And he is. So that one took off. I think I got like 400,000 views or 500,000 views in like the matter of like a couple of days, like maybe a week. And it just kept going up. I was like, holy shit. And I got a lot of followers during that time. It was like, I don't know, 2017, 18.
Yeah. I'm a late adopter to all that stuff. I do enjoy doing what I do, and I do it with no pressure whatsoever.
I put a little bit of pressure on myself because a buddy of mine is like, he's been in social media for a long time, puts out a whole bunch of stuff. His name is Charlie Classic. And he's sponsored by Pornhub. So he meets a lot of the actresses.
Talent.
We'll go with that. So he meets a lot of talent. And like these women will be like, how do you do it, Charlie? Like, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, listen, you've got umpteen hours in the day. You can make a quick little Snapchat and say thank you to your fans. You can do a quick little minute sketch that takes like 10 minutes to edit. Like there's time in the day to do it. You just have to do it. No excuses. And I took that and I was like, there's no excuse why I can't do a video a week. There's no excuse why I can't sit down and like look at an article and go, that's kind of funny. And then like sketch out a couple of funny jokes about it and do a video and edit it. And there's no reason why I can't do that for a week. And so I think I might have skipped a week here and there, but for the most part, I think for like the past like 5-6 years, I've done a video a week just because there's no excuse not to. Even if it's a shitty, small, fast one.
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to put out a video of me poking fun at something stupid and then just because I want to.
Michael and I are going to do a new series. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I'm going to try to kill him. So
Go on.
he's going to go base jumping. He's going to go skydiving. He's going to run from a dog in a bite suit and get bit. I'm working with the cops to see if I can get him pepper sprayed and tased.
Oh, you're gonna fucking love that.
He thinks he could land a commercial airliner. Next week, we're going to do our first one. He's going to try to fly a helicopter.
Oh, cool.
I think it's just going to be like Andy, or I don't know what it's going to be called. Andy tries to kill Michael or something. But yeah, I want to take him on some journeys from my own life.
Bucket list, death wish.
Do you have any insight?
Death list.
It'll be fun.
We need to stop having
This
your
is the
mom
first
listen
I've
to the
heard
show,
of
though.
the pepper spray and tasing.
Oh, don't worry.
though.
I have some other things lined up as
Pepper
well.
spray smells. You can't do them both
cannot
at the
wait.
same time. Well, you're not supposed to. Some of them are alcohol based, and you'll set them on fire. That happened in New York City a couple of times. Pepper sprayed the dude, and then they tased him, and the arc turned him into toast.
What about the woman who got lit on fire in the fucking subway?
Oh,
Bro.
what the fuck?
Bro.
And who just goes up to somebody and says, I'm going to light their jacket on fire with a lighter? And then how doped up was she or whatever she was out of it to be like, I guess I'm burning now, and not just like, she just stood there.
I think just pure shock.
Just stood there and was burning and was just like, doop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not just go,
How does not
This is hot.
How does not everybody around there help? What the fuck?
the same reason why the school teachers aren't doing shit? Because nobody wants to be sued. Everybody's afraid of doing the right thing and then being used as like some sort of scapegoat or being held accountable for doing the right thing, which isn't that a new weird, it's like a weird new age thing, the people doing the right thing but then they're held accountable for it.
Yeah. You were looking up that video, weren't you, Michael?
Yeah, I couldn't find it. It was all.
I'm actually okay with that, watching that woman fucking burned to death standing at the door of a subway.
So sad. It's etched in my memory. I can see it right now.
I can too. And you know what is etched in my memory is this super slow motion, the way she was just standing there. Insane. Mm-hmm. Your state has a lot of problems,
I mean, that's New York City.
which is the same thing as Buffalo.
First of all, man, I think you could probably beat me up, but I would really, I'll still slap you. Like I'll be like, they're like, what happened? And you're like, I'm in like a full body cast. I'm like, I smacked the shit out of Andy. And I was like, I'll lose this battle, but I'll fucking leave a mark.
Buffalo is very far from the city. I've
It's
actually got
the opposite side of the state, literally.
Yeah. Well, my wife is from upstate, and I finally.
We're Western New York.
Yeah.
Rochester, Buffalo is Western New York. Upstate's like Albany and that weird shit.
Isn't it up at the top of the state though?
Buffalo? No, it's like shaped like a dog head. So if like the top of the dog head, that's where Albany is, the nose is where Buffalo is. It's west of the city. It's not.
Isn't it in the northern part of the state though?
It's in the western part of the state.
Like the
hence why.
northwestern?
West. Like it's the furthest west you can get. Hence
And north.
west.
Because it's right by the border.
Well,
Canadian
if
border.
so, then downstate is down, right?
Yes, of course.
And then to the left of that, west of it would
Is
be
left state.
Western New York.
Okay. I'm not saying I'm super familiar with it. I've got.
Well, I'm saying you're wrong because I'm from there, and that's what it's called, and that's just what it is.
Oh, whatever. Look into it.
All right.
It's
slap number 2. Slap number 2 coming around.
I've gotten to see. I've only got to the city before. Now with my wife, I got to see a lot more outside of the city. It's a beautiful state.
It is gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
New York City smells like shit. You can get whatever you want there though, which is kind of cool because it's the largest city in the United States. But yeah, New York's got a lot to offer besides New York State and really bad politics.
Yeah. Do you guys, given your proximity to the northern border, do you guys deal with any illegal immigration coming from north to south?
Oh yeah, I arrested a guy.
That doesn't hit the news often either. It's the southern border.
Oh, they're coming from the northern border. Yeah.
People are hesitant to believe that. Maybe, and probably due to the volume of information they've heard about the southern border.
I mean, it's easy to come up through the southern border because you get assistance from, like cartels. But yeah, people come from the northern border all the time too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Montana. That's bordering Canada.
We have 3 CBP officers for the entire state. I'm making that figure up. Let's just say there's a lot of area of porous border.
Yeah. I mean, if I was ever going to come into the United States illegally, I'd just go through Canada.
I think I would too. I mean, take a backpack and a lunch and like a sleeping bag because you're going to walk for a bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I would too.
Get an Uber.
In the forest? Like a forest Uber?
You're just going to appear in the forest. That's just what happens. You just in Canadian forest. No, you start off you fly in through an airport,
Yep.
get to the airport, You pick somewhere that's close to a border in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, drop you off at a gas station.
Drop it off at a gas station. You walk across the border, blah, blah, blah. You get an Uber in well, not Buffalo, but in whatever bumfuck town that you're in.
Yeah.
That's, right here in the middle of Montana where it's miles and miles and miles of acreage of nothing, except for one road. And you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah. And here you are.
Yeah. You could just buy a bicycle and get a couple MREs in your backpack on a nice summer weekend.
Be better than MREs.
I mean, it's high caloric intake. You're just trying to make,
It's
make
horrible.
things do.
It's
Don't shit
horrible.
on my potential illegal entry into the United States.
I mean, it would work.
Yeah, I know it
will
would
give
work.
you
That's
that.
why I said it.
Yeah. My plan is just better.
Oh, the one that you didn't say that you waited for me to come up with first?
I would have gotten a scooter.
Yeah, an electric scooter
Yeah, better than a bike.
Okay.
In a backpack, I would have had
with a
mountain house
GPS that probably stops at the border, and then where?
No, I
Didn't
would
think
take
that
it
through, did
take it
ya?
out of somebody's backyard. There's no Jeep. It's not a rented
You should
one.
cover up your seal tattoos. A disgrace. You can't even get through with a fucking scooter.
Yeah, you could. I didn't say it'd be GPS. It's not one of the rental scooters, which
So then, how you're picking up now you're going to a scooter buying, but you're putting more steps in the way of you.
theft along the way. You take somebody else's scooter.
Oh, that makes sense. You're already there illegally. Why not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That scooter would
How
be
you got to find a scooter to steal in Canada though?
everywhere. They're everywhere. It's a real scooter.
I'm
folk.
not trying to shit on your dreams here, but I'm trying to be a realist.
They're scooter folk. I don't know if you spend a lot of time up there.
Scooter folk?
Yeah, they like them.
I think you're finding a bike way easier than scooter folk.
I don't fucking know. Maybe they ride one wheels up there. Do people ride those in Buffalo?
No. We have people with common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold, it gets slushy, there's snow. We're a hardy people, we're very realistic.
Yep.
The outside politics of the world doesn't usually affect us that much because we're just like, hey, you're my neighbor. Yeah. All right. And that's about it. Does this affect you? No. Does this affect you? No.
Yeah, live your life. Live and let live. What's the best way that people can support what you're doing with the school stuff? What is-
OnlyFans. I have no. I'm kidding.
that monetarily, perhaps. No, I mean, how can they put a vice on these school districts? What's the best way to leverage or pressure them?
So there's a couple ways that are going to make significant strides in the right direction. One is if you're in the city of Buffalo and your kids or go to the school or you're a teacher or an administrator and you want to give us information, like when I say me, I mean me and the boys from the Unsub. We have that Gmail, the take the high road, high spelled H-Y like my last name, take the high road at gmail.com. That's just for Buffalo, just for people that know something happened because they were there or their kid or a family member or their coworker told them, hey, this happened. Either first person or you found out from a first person source. This is what happened. Email that. That's great. If you're from an outside the city, you don't have any sort of information you can share with us, the best thing you can do is repost the story to any New York State politician, tag the FBI or any politician, tag the Attorney General's office. It's just literally just tag any dummy that has any sort of form of law enforcement that you think can handle it, like the Attorney General's office, the AG, Pam Bondi's AG, or the FBI.
Until they pay attention.
Until they pay attention. That's it. Which blows my mind that the second largest city in the state of New York, and this is what's happening in the schools, and my governor hasn't said shit about it in a week.
Yeah.
Tag Kathy Hochul.
How do you spell that last name?
Hochel. She's from Buffalo, which makes me sad considering that, when you have somebody grow up around your people, that you would be like, hey, when they make it big, they're not going to forget about us. Well, week and a half later, no word. Killing me.
How would you know that the FBI was going to get involved?
If they said something, oh man,
Would that be an agent though, or like the department? How would you actually know? How would you be notified?
there would probably be a statement. I mean, I don't need to be notified. If I'm notified, I'll shut the fuck up. If somebody goes, hey, we're looking into this, shut the fuck up, Richard. I'll be like, hey, listen,
Mission accomplished.
mission accomplished. Everybody assist. If somebody comes and calls you and asks a question, do exactly what they want you to do. Thank you so much. We're forwarding this to another agency. That's the I'm shutting up. I can't say who has it, but somebody's got it mode,
Yeah.
right? The other way, unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet is the Erie County District Attorney's Office or the FBI that's local in the city of Buffalo. There's a Buffalo office, or the New York AG's office. If they just put out a tweet or a statement that said, we're looking into this. That's it. You don't have to say you start an investigation, which even that's assumed, but we have heard and we're looking into this. That's it. I'll go out of the spotlight. I don't need to hear shit unless nothing happens for 6 months, and then I'll pop up again and I'll be like, "Where the fuck is this investigation going?"
Yeah, you don't seem like the kind of guy who's going to put it down.
Yeah, I can't. I kind of put all my chips in.
Yeah.
In. I'm all in. Either.
If you can't be all in though on protecting children and victims, what the fuck are you going to be all in for?
Wait, this is the hill I'm going to die on. If I get fired, I really don't want to get fired. I love being a cop, man. I really genuinely do. If it's so fucking fun, and I put pieces of shit in jail, it's amazing. I love it. Just like I love being a drill sergeant. I could retire. I've already got my 20 years in. I don't want to because I'm an old school NCO, and these kids need to fucking be taught the old school way. Even if I got to put kid gloves on sometimes. I love what I do. I love what I do. And I don't want to stop doing what I love. But this is a hill I'll die on. Yeah. I think it's bad when people don't report the sexual assault of kids. I think that's bad. So let's do something about it.
I agree. What do you want to leave people with?
Everything that I just said. The unsub video, there's 2 now. One's the original whistleblowing incident. One's the update where I have additional stories from school members and parents, teachers, counselors, etc. And I give an update. Share those. Tag every federal politician you can. Tag the FBI. Tag the New York State Attorney General's office. Tag the Erie County District Attorney's office. Tag every New York politician. I can't believe I haven't seen anything from any New York politician. Not even local state representatives. Killing me.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can't step for the kids, it's like I don't know what the fuck to say.
Yeah. And if you want to find me because you think I'm funny or entertaining, then it's Angry Cops on YouTube.
Fair enough. Thanks for making the trip out, man.
Yeah.
That was 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes.
Cool. Yeah, I could talk for forever. It's not hard for me. I threw my phone over there so I want to look at it.
Perfect.